Good evening, Firewall. My name is Avid, and welcome to an extremely exciting Tier 3 matchup. We have Relentless Esports versus Velocity and Nitro X, and joining me here at the casting booth is a very, very good friend of mine, Kobe.
Hello, Avid. Hello, Firewall. Very excited to be here tonight. Get some awesome divisional final games here between Velocity Nitro and Relentless. Really looking forward to the fight we think this is going to be tonight, Avid.
Oh yeah, for sure. Just like a little bit of tidbit about these teams. We have an incredible story. First thing that I'd like to know is Relentless is coming in as this incredible underdog. I believe only winning either one match or actually not winning a single one in the regular season matchup, and now finding themselves in their own division finals. Gonna be looking for some incredible plays from Matey with an incredible front line, the main tank player, and Runaway specializing in that echo.
Ready for battle.
Absolutely. They're kind of the hero underdog story of the night here with a regular season record and then moving into all the way through playoffs into the division playoff. But on the other side with Velocity Nitro, just as interesting, we had a chance to catch up with the captains earlier, and this is the first time anyone on that team has ever played any kind of competitive event. So as we're about to go here, we definitely have some experience versus underdogs, or some initiative versus underdogs, but we're really looking forward to see what the night brings, and looks like we're going to get started on Ilios well, map 1.
Yeah, for sure. Going in, a look at these comps. We have a very standard brawl comp with a double fly combination. A Mercy Baptiste going in against a more dive-heavy Bogfern on the Diva. We see Bogfern try to take that high ground, getting a good positioning. Deadly Mouse beats him there. Looking for any space they have. We have a lot of airspace being taken by Runaway and Scrub. Bogfern sets the pace extremely well going in on the dive. Matey trying to press the advantage that he has with his, hammer right in the reach of Bogfern, but isn't able to find much. As that point gets unlocked, the brawl begins. Matey and Raven are there brawling, but they aren't able to find much. And ooh, Runaway is going to fall, and they begin to brawl. Looky there.
Absolutely, we have a huge fight. Really interesting to see, especially we knew that the Velocity might potentially, or Relentless might potentially, come out on the double Air Force comp. Interesting to see how some preparation was dealt with. They chose to come out with the Winston Diva comp, and we saw Bogfern there actually try to dive and contest in the air rather than fight on point. A really interesting play. It definitely worked out for them one, but he was able to keep both the area heroes off the point, keep the pressure off the rest of his team, and let their team do his job on point as we move into the second engagement here, as they're going to start up with the first control.
Yeah, finally, they're just wanting to take control of this airspace. Runaway and Scrub putting in massive amounts of damage on Bogfern, trying to hold this high ground positioning. As the Matrix falls, Deadly goes below half, but doesn't seem to lose the mech. Scrub looking for anything he can with this damage boost. Bogfern falls extremely low, but is saved by his team, as well as a well-placed bubble. Concussion Mine does come out from Scrub, not able to find much, and Coalescence comes out. This is what they need. It looks like the Velocity moves in, the brawl begins on point. Window, as well as Immortality, gets popped for Relentless, but they're in trouble. Ooh, Barrage does get popped. Matey finds one, and Scrub cleaning up the rest. They find two, and it looks like it's going to be a pretty clean fight win for Relentless.
Absolutely. They did commit both support ults right away, and they did get the beat and the Coalescence both support ults of the other team. So they're going to win that fight pretty handedly here, especially with Scrub getting rezzed mid-fight right after the barrage to just stay on the value train and keep pumping damage in. And even as we look at it, as they flip the point, moving into it, we have some more economy left. They still have the duplicate on a Runaway. We'll be looking for them to copy either the Reaper or the Diva Bomb, see what they can get here, as well as they have a Diva Bomb of their own in store and a Shatter. So we'll look for the Shatter Bomb combo and see if they can't hold the point well into the 50 to 60% for the third control.
Certainly, we're going to see an ult parade with both Echoes having their ultimate abilities online, just waiting for when they want to pop. Bogfern sets the pace with a Primal. Matey looks for Shatter, but can't find much. Deadly Mouse goes off with the Diva Bomb, and both supports fall to the front line of Velocity. They move in now to point. B drop, a little bit of a risky engage from Runaway after the Echo copy, but maybe they can do something with it. It still looks at a huge advantage for Velocity, though, as they have no healing for Relentless, and they just have to go to town.
And town they are going. It definitely was bombs on parade there. I think you said it best. it looks like we still have a little bit of a fight here, but it does look like Velocity is going to end up cleaning this up here to conclude the fight. Really huge from them, even after the duplicate came out early, but watch out. Coming back here, Scrub. They haven't managed to flip it yet, and Scrub's come back with the barrage, and we do get the flip. And there's the barrage committed. The barrage kills the Lucio. We see the Echo answers right back to kill Scrub mid-barrage. This is just one long train of a fight, Evan.
Yeah, and it is not over yet. They are being as scrappy as possible, but Velocity is securing the percentage they need to put themselves finally in an advantage in this fight. With the copy coming out from Maduria, it looks like they are going to be able to finally stabilize Velocity.
Oof, take a breath. What a fight. Absolutely. We had multiple equipments from either sides there, kind of just dropping ult as they could to try to derive any value to win the fight one way or another. And it looks like heading into the last fight, they're going to be tough to take it from with the primal for disruption and the beat just to make sure they can hold on.
Yeah, it looks like Mady has to switch to the ball just so he can even get a touch. A very, very aggressive, risky engage, but they have to get a body on this objective. Bogburn is going to have that Primal online waiting for the right time to pop it, but now they finally have some numbers back. The brawl begins on this objective. Looking to see if there can be a final opener, and it looks like the DPS from Relentless are going to set the pace well. Scrub finds the Lucio for Velocity, and Raven doing a nice job taking out Crown. This becomes an incredibly dangerous situation, especially with the Diva Bomb online. Raven is staring for them where, and it's a C9. Velocity takes map 1.
Man, Raven just committed, just too eager, got off point, trying to confirm the kill, trying to keep the momentum going after they opened it up with a couple nice picks to flip, but unfortunately uses charge to get off point, and that with that wick burning, it just wasn't able to recontest in time. So it looks like they are going to take one here, but you know, really looked like the fight was really going the way of Relentless, which was pretty impressive given that Caliper was able to use the beat early and then kind of commit the fight and really cement the advantage for them. But Relentless was able to open the fight with 2 picks of their own and kind of change back the momentum to the other side, and looks like we're going to see if they can keep it going on well.
Yes, certainly. Looking a bit at the comps, we're going to have a very pokey composition from Relentless. They're looking to kite around this well as much as possible and maintain that space in between them, taking advantage of massive tor damage, as well as some nice sticky bombs from Runaway. But it looks like we're going to have still this very standard dive composition from Velocity. They decide to take the Lighthouse high ground, and Frogfern does choose to drop down pretty early. His team's not with him, and he gets burnt immediately by Scrub. The turret does go down, but it's not going to mean much. Without their main tank, they're going to have much space to work with. Relentless is finally set up on the objective, and they don't have much value to recontest. Only 1 death, and they're able to start securing point percentage.
Absolutely, they locked that up pretty fast, but the Torb, we love to see it. We love to see the Torb on point. If they manage to hold this corner, which does appear to be where they want to kind of hole up and set up their little HQ here between the double shields and the Torb, we're going to see what it's going to take in order for Velocity to close that gap and get across and be able to threaten them. Just a lot of damage coming off in that corner.
Yeah, for sure. But Relentless is doing an amazing job maintaining this space, playing this back left corner and gives them so much sidelines to work with. But they want to be aggressive. Even with the Sigma switch, they're not being able to find much. A little game of, tippy-tappy, a little bit, not able to find much, but Runaway does get the Lucio from Velocity. Incredibly strong, intelligent performance from Relentless. They're playing smart. Not much in both supports fall, and that's going to be a very, very solid win for Relentless.
It was too. They definitely they got the fight they wanted there. Often in Overwatch we talk about dictating the engagement. We talk about the more aggressive team wins. I would counter to say the team that's able to dictate the engagement wins, right? That's from the coach's mindset here. So them being able to sit in the back, control that corner, keep the Torb turret there. We saw Scrub hammering away at that turret. They took the exact fight they wanted to poke across the well, see if they couldn't force Velocity to come to them. As a result, Runaway gets the pick, and then the rest of the team falls down like dominoes. They're off to a really solid control at 73-0 here heading into the 3rd fight.
Yes, and Velocity is beginning to struggle. Bogfern has switched to now his 3rd tank pick. Not really any ult charge in his favor. They want to find an answer, and it's going to be tough. A window and a bongo comes out. That's a lot of damage being thrown at Mady's shield. And he's not going to be able to take any space off this. Again, not many kills have happened, but this entire time they are accruing point percentage. Deadly Mouse goes for a hook, but isn't able to find much, and now the engage finally begins. A nice Tor Bolt, making sure they can't aggress too much, and Matey's gonna fall immediately, but there's an immediate answer. Runaway is going to go down after a nice coalescence and a nice boop off Matey. They trade main tanks, and now it's just gonna be a little bit of the mechanics battle. Crown looking for something in the backline, but can't find much. And Scrub hitting an incredible shot on the Roadhog, and the turret does an even more. 99%, and Relentless looking incredibly powerful. Not much is going to be done as long as they're able to kill fast, Kobe.
Absolutely, they just got to take that ball off point, but Scrub with the 4-piece chicken nugget meal. 2 for him and 2 for the turret. What a combo. We love to see the Torb, and that was just maximum value. I think that Velocity did exactly what they wanted to do there, which was they got out back. They were able to use the coalescence to try to break that linear fire pattern that was coming out from the corner. They were able to disperse the team, but there was, like you said, there was just too many ultimates between the Bongo and then the Baptiste wall, the Baptiste window rather, and then you had, of course, the Molten Core to zone off the other way. It was, in the end, too much for Velocity to overcome, and we're tied at 1 map apiece, heading into Ruins.
Yeah, certainly. And what it looks like we're starting to see here is that Velocity has a set strategy here. And if they are pushed off of this strategy, then they begin to falter. They begin to lose a lot of confidence, lose a lot of synergy. And that's what we saw on Well. They didn't have that first engage go the way that they expected, and there was a little bit of lack of confidence in a comp that they were not able to pick. So going into this, we have the Brawl versus, again, this double shield, extremely pokey composition. I do favor the Brawl a little bit here as they're able to set the place very, very well. Bog Fern pushes in, trying to create a lot of momentum for his team. But they, again, take all this space and points just right beside them for them to sit. Crown is going to find Scrub, and hey, when this Brawl is in your face, double shield isn't going to do much. And they're going to push them all the way back to the pillar, it looks like.
That's right, and I mean, as they should, they got the exact fight they wanted this time, right? They said, no, we've had enough of that, you bunkering up, and it looks like they're gonna go ahead and try to hold corner. They're gonna cap point behind it. They're gonna stuff them right where they want them to be. That way, they can't set up that bunker. You saw right away, Crown got the early pick on the Torbjorn. He said, no, we're not doing this again. No chance you guys are gonna be allowed to set up that bunker comp and just keep us at an arm's length. They want to get in, they want to box, and they want to get out.
That's exactly what they're doing here. Coalescence is so much sustain to deal with as Bogfern pushes in and finds 3. An incredibly quick cleanup with not a lot invested. All it took was a Coalescence to break down this double shield pokey comp once they got in their face.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what they're doing. Look where the Ryan is playing here. Bog Fern playing very aggressive, holding these top 2 corners. Unless there's some switches, and we do see some switches coming out. Looks like Relentless is going to rotate back to the Air Force, especially with Velocity not having any kind of hit scans to be able to counter. Really look for some huge value out of both these air DPS heroes here, switching back to the different strategy, the one that map won, but really got the fights they wanted as far as what Velocity was trying to do to take control back.
Certainly, Valk does come out, Scrub does fall to the Diva Bomb, and a mech kill on Matey. Deadly Mouse setting some great example. Finally, they're able to, continue to hold this point. Honestly, I was a little bit afraid. With a double fly, it's a little bit difficult to run it on the main tank side when you're, getting barraged from this high ground.
Absolutely, and this is Deadly Mouse's job, right? This is the Deadly Mouse show. Deadly Mouse, the whole team said, all right, Mouse, time for you to show us what you got. You got to control the Pharah, you got to control the Echo, and we're moving into a new fight right away, and Mouse doing a great job of that so far.
The copy comes out, double main tank is pretty difficult to deal with. How do they answer? A nice defensive beat, and Bogfern looking to shatter. Isn't able to find too much, but the Baptiste does fall, and wow.
Oh!
Incredible ball display. A 3K Blossom from Crown, and that is a complete team wipe.
Absolutely, that was actually a 4-piece. I don't know if you saw right before in the feed, he actually had one first to start the engagement. So Crown gets 4, yet another McDonald's Happy Meal, and it looks like they're really going to be the one to hold this, and maybe switches back to the ball just to try to get his contest here. But what a flip. It looks like Velocity certainly has the edge here.
Yeah, for certain, and they're going to have to brawl on this point, something that Velocity has proven they're incredibly good at doing. Yeah, Heat is going to fall immediately to the Doomfist for Velocity, and he's going to try to find more with this Meteor Strike. He isn't able to find much, but again, it's a lot to deal with the Reaper and a Doom. Deadly Mouse is doing a great job using a lot of these abilities, creating a lot of space for his team. Madura does take the Diva out of mech, and again, as long as they kill fast here, they're looking incredibly strong in securing the second map.
Absolutely. I mean, that was just enormous, right? The Blossom sets up the final fight where they know that Relentless has to come crashing back into them. So if Relentless has to come crashing back into them, they're already on the comp for it. And it looks like we're going to see the Scrub play the game on the 4-piece Torb kill. You're going to watch him get 2 up front, and then you're going to watch the Turret go to work and finish off the remaining 2. But that last fight, they got exactly what they wanted. They were never worried about it. You know, they knew as he pulls out the hammer, he wanted it. But, you know, they knew that they had to come flying into him. That was exactly what they wanted.
Yeah, for certain. And they did an excellent job. And I find this, you know, incredibly interesting. It wasn't mechanical Overwatch. Usually in games like this, you get to see like one player who was just so exemplary, you know, that star performer on each side. But really what determined a lot of these team fights wasn't, you know, a mechanical showcase, but it was genuinely intelligent Overwatch. We could look at where Relentless, you know, 3 fights in a row killed 1 person on the side of Velocity and was able to accrue, you know, half of the map's percentage. And then the exact same thing goes for Velocity, who ended up taking this map 1. It came down to if they were able to run their strategy and that they practiced this brawl composition, then they had incredible amounts of success.
Yeah, we finish up. I gotta send it a break.
Okay, awesome. And it looks like we are going to go to a little bit of a break here. I couldn't agree more. I think that analysis is spot on. We are going to go to a little bit of a break between matches. We are having a little bit of technical difficulties, as you guys can see in the chat, with potentially some aim assist issues. We're going to make sure we can take care of that, make sure we get everything fair and square before I move on to map 2. So like that, we're going to throw it to a break to come back with some map 2 action.
We good? All right, awesome. Gotcha. Welcome back, everybody. Sorry about the little bit of technical difficulties, a little bit of a lobby situation, but hey, that is all right. We are back. Velocity taking the series 1-0. Going into King's Row was the Relentless pack pick. So we had some incredibly, exciting plays. Again, like I said earlier, is usually we see Overwatch go down to, these mechanical displays. Whether, some great off-tank plays, great DPS play, some support clutches, things like that. But really, it came down to intelligent Overwatch is what ended up winning Velocity that first map. Some fights where they only, took out one on Relentless and were able to accrue point percentage, and obviously just great strategic and great planning.
Absolutely. It was truly a spectacle there. And just to give the audience an update on the aim assist situation, it looks like both teams did play with no aim assist for game one. There was a setting that was misconfigured, just to be completely transparent with the audience, letting you know that has been resolved heading into map 2 here. We've agreed to move on. Both captains have agreed to move on since the disadvantage was mutual and no one had aim assist. But you have to wonder, Avid, do you think that it's just Relentless that adapted pretty quickly to that and picked the Torb? It makes me laugh a bit because the Torb certainly did some work, and among other heroes, obviously this advantage was mutual. But you almost wonder if it was an adaptation to the lack of aim assist call, or if that was the strat the whole time to play Torb on well.
It's not an unpopular strategy to play that on well, because the turret provides a lot of poke, but you could definitely say, they acknowledge that, their hit scan specialists were having a little bit of a disadvantage, so they swapped up the strategies. But taking a look at the beginning of King's Row, on the defense for Relentless, we look like we have a Brawl double fly composition coming out.
There it is again. We're going to see the double fly composition on defense, which is definitely going to be a little bit different, but they clearly have a plan. We see the Mercy, so we can call it a 2.5 fly comp. I personally love to call it the Air Force. And usually when we play it with some kind of a Wrecking Ball or a Winston. They're choosing to keep the Rhine involved here, so wouldn't be surprised to see the Rhine holding a corner, potentially just a little bit further back, and then let the Flyers go to work. On the other side, we're going to see the attack come out with only one hit scan and that Reaper yet again, so looks like it's going to be all on Madeira to try to counter these Flyers, and that's really going to be the secret here moving into it. He's going to have to go to work.
Yeah, definitely. Scrub and Runaway have a lot of space to do some massive damage, but great pace from Velocity. They immediately take this first corner, and the brawl begins. Mady falling below half, goes extremely low. The immortality gets used by Hina. They do not have that speed boost to disengage, though, so they're going to have to, really slow and go down to the poke. The poke does favor Relentless, though, having Runaway and Scrub as well as a damage-boosted Pharmacy. Incredibly detrimental. Ooh, we do lose the D.Va back, and Runaway finishes off the D.Va. So now without that off-tank, I bet they're going to be pressing this advantage quite aggressively. Runaway on a little bit of a flank, seeing what they can secure, but after a hard back from Velocity, there isn't going to be much there.
Yeah, and I bet they come back quick here, but it was exactly what we expected, right? They played the back corner. They definitely poked out with both supports. If you take a look at Scrub's ult charge at 91%, and they're going to wake up with a window as they move into second fight already.
Yeah, the Coalescence comes out, and they want to press that advantage. Velocity is moving in, but Scrub puts a barrage right into the back of Bog's Burn, but is immediately answered, trading it with his life. Mady falls as well. Some nice shots from Mideria, and they begin to secure some point percentage. First tick now going. We pop the Deadeye, seeing what else we can find, and Knock goes down. An incredible DPS showing as collectively they find 5.
Absolutely. Madeira with the 3-piece. Really great takeout on the far right away. Pumps some more damage into the main brawl, then focuses attention on the Echo, who had gotten off to the right. Farms the High Noon, immediately farms the High Noon, says, I don't care that you have a D.Va, what defense matrix? Ends up taking her out, getting another one after the fact to secure the point for his team. Really strong DPS play there by Madeira, and looks like there's going to be no switches, so he's going to have to continue to handle these Flyers.
Yeah, this is going to be tough. They have a pretty long hallway that they're going to have to work towards spacing Scrub and Runaway's massive damage. Mady does a great job, though. He takes this first corner, possibly looking for a nice shatter, as well as the D.Va bomb comes out. Doesn't get much, and no immortality used, it looks like, but no immortality being able to be used. They do have the beat possibly being able to use aggressively, and here they just want to sit and use some resources. The shatter goes out, and Mady does take out the main tank. A nice defensive beat from Caliber, though. Ooh, the Blossom does come out with a nice combination of a shatter, and the D.Va bomb finds 3! A massive combination from Velocity.
Absolutely huge. I mean, it was almost like they used 4 other ults to distract from the back. That's like, oh yeah, we put a bomb back there. Have fun, Merry Christmas, right? The bomb goes off and kills 3. What a massive, massive bomb. And it was almost like all the other ultimates led up to that, and you know, economy, you don't need even distribution of economy if you're gonna drop one bomb and kill 3.5 to 4 people. Obviously, won them the fight. They're gonna roll almost into point 2 here, where they're gonna get a strong recontest, and we do see a swap to the McCree. Looks like we're off the double flyers.
Window comes out for Relentless, and Scrub's going to be looking for a very nice barrage here. A pretty early Deadeye from Theria, but they're trying to buy as much space as he possibly can. A nice speed boost, but isn't able to find much thanks to Matey's shield. And they want to try to create as much as they can. Finally, the barrage does come out, and he finds the front line of Relentless. That's going to be a lot of health pool taken away, and they're going to finally take the space and stop this card progression.
They did stop it, you know, and that was really huge. It looks like Runaway's gonna go ahead and clean up the rest of the team. Nah, you're not getting out. Get back here, Runaway says. But yeah, really huge. You saw the Mercy pocket there really go to work for Scrub with the barrage. The barrage was massive, got 2. Through the onslaught of damage coming in through Madeira, but just couldn't kill it fast enough through the Mercy pocket. You see Scrub already at 50%. They just barraged, so Scrub almost pumping to another barrage. Looks like we're gonna have another high noon up here, and it looks like they're gonna retain the economy here. So we should really be expecting to see Relentless go ahead and hold this point for yet another fight. We'll see how they weaponize these ults here.
Yeah, the Shatter goes out, and Matey, I believe, finds 4. Incredible Shatter as Moira and Reinhardt fall from Velocity. Crown does find Runaway, though, who was sitting on that high ground platform, but the damage is done. Matey setting a great main tank example, and they're going to stagger this diva hard.
They are going to stagger. She isn't dead yet. We're going to play with our food. Come on, you know, Mom said not to play with your food. There it is. They get the kill on the stagger. It's going to force Bogburn to back his team out even a little more, but maybe not. Maybe they try to commit the noon. They said, we don't care. And it looks like we're going to see another bomb, and it's going to turn Bogburn around. Doesn't get anyone, and it looks like we're going to be ready to a fight with or without the diva.
Yeah, but Bogburn isn't going to have any shield. The barrage does come out. Does he find much? He does. Bogburn falls, and Runaway cleans up both supports. An incredible combo. Diva Bomb takes down the Reinhardt shield, and they're just free to put in massive amounts of damage from Scrub.
Absolutely. We saw both DPS ults there again. They wagged the finger, said, no, 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 no. You know, we know you thought we weren't expecting you to push with 5 even after we staggered your diva. Doesn't matter. We're confident. We'll commit both DPS ults anyway. Make sure we wipe your team, and we'll move into kind of what could be last fight territory here, unless they get on their horse and get back in for that recontest.
Yeah, but we got a lot of ultimates online from Velocity. The Shatter, Blossom, as well as a late Lucio beat that could set the pace, extremely aggressive, and finally allow them to brawl on this objective. Scrub does take a lot of this airspace, though, putting in massive amounts of damage. The Shatter comes out, Matey get the 5-man again! A classic case of MTD. Matey sets the pace so incredibly well on this Reinhardt.
Absolutely. MTD or RMD. That's the rectangle man diff in chat. What a massive Shatter, getting 5. You saw Crown there trying to shoot anything he could, even up in the air, just waiting for the Blossom. Wasn't even paying attention. Unfortunately, Bogburn drops the shield, gets his whole team shattered, and they're going to get yet another wipe. But looks like they are going to get another contest here, and here they come on 4 ults. Let's see if they can get the Wombo combo. If you look for Deadly Mouse to throw the bomb in behind here, see if he can get maybe to turn around and do a Bogburn Shatter for another contest, which should secure them the second point. If not, they still have the B and the Blossom. We're really going to have to see how Hina weaponizes this immortality field heading into this last fight. Could be a big one.
Yeah, it's a last chance effort from Velocity, but there is the barrage line on Scrub, and we've seen what Scrub can do with this ultimate. It's immediately popped very early. Lots of Matrix to secure this, but he does find one. The bomb misplaced on the top of the ceiling, and Crown finds 2, and the reback kill. Velocity finally has to commit a lot of those ultimates, but hey, it pays off. It looks like they should get it to this final stretch and move this to the third part of King's Row.
Yeah, the card has moved back quite a bit. There should be a cap on point 2 here. What we saw, definitely got to call out Deadly Mouse for a heads-up play. Looks like they are going to get the stagger on Scrub. Scrub tried to contest to get their team in there, but you know, big heads up to Deadly Mouse there, knowing that Scrub probably had another barrage, held the DM, Matrix the entire barrage, and then really allowed Crown to get into the background to get the Blossom, and ultimately won them point 2.
Yeah, certainly Kariko is going to have that Coalescence online, so Velocity is going to want to push incredibly aggressive. Madeira looks where we can find Bogburn, goes extremely low, and Matey takes him down. The Diva Bomb to finish off this engage, and no. 3 go to the kill feed, just like that, Kobe. And Relentless already back on their feet after getting wiped.
Absolutely, you know, that was the story of economy the fight beforehand. They simply had more ults than they could handle. Once the economies were a little bit more leveled, they come roaring back to life. They immediately get the card stop just one corner after they had regained their footing here, and we're heading right back into the third fight. But again, economies flipped. We're gonna see some ults.
We got a window high noon come out that doesn't catch anything thanks to Deadly Mouse's defense matrix and a nice block shatter. Matey blocking Bogfriend's slam, and he answers with his own, finding the front line. Are they able to secure? They do. The Diva Mech does come out. A res coming out on Scrub. Seeing what he can do, it looks like he's now close to another barrage. He may want to invest that. Finally, we get a bit of percentage from Velocity, though. Matey falls incredibly low, and Hina does get caught out and taken down. Matey slowly after. Velocity finally choosing to press this advantage. Crown takes out Scrub, and they are rolling here on this last point of King's Row.
They are. I love the soldier switch. You know, they definitely said, okay, it's about time we start pumping some damage, some consistent damage, instead of the McCree burst into right all the way into the Pharah. It looks like Scrub is going to pop a barrage, only going to get one for Shake the Helix Rocket, and it looks like that should be it, as they might trickle in here. Yeah, that's going to do it. They're going to go ahead and cap here, but what a great fight towards the end. You know, I really do think that the soldier switch was correct. Farmed a visor very quickly, but that's going to be the ticket. They need consistent damage into these flyers, especially if they're going to continue to force 1, 2, and 3 flyer looks. I wouldn't be surprised, especially now that we have aim assist on, wouldn't be surprised to even see 1 or 2 hit scans come out of them just to try to take down what they know they're going to see in the form of probably double flyers on attack. Would really love to see them mix it up here as well and break the double flyers and bring out something a little bit different here.
Yeah, certainly. And hey, Crown had the thought process of, hey, if the Cowboy's not working, why not lock the legs? And the legs did damn well. Building that visor, securing that fight for his team, and finally, we get a little bit of a look on if they're going to make much switches. On the defense, haven't come up with much of a decision. Crown is going to choose to lock the legs again, though. An excellent, excellent pick. Like you were saying earlier, they would have put constant pressure on this double fly comfortability comp that we've seen from Relentless.
Absolutely. And you know, it's funny, it looks like they're gonna pick the Doom as well. You know, just some great high ground engagement points obviously on King's Row for Doom. I think Madera couldn't resist, had to pick it. But it's interesting, we'll see if they end up keeping the comp. Like I said at the beginning, you're gonna see they're gonna break out the Ball Monkey on attack. So bring out the Ball Monkey on attack, really looking for some fast engage with some spam from behind. But, you know, Deadly Mouse is in Diva jail here. It's really going to be up to Deadly Mouse and Crown to shut down these flyers, and it's going to be the story of King's Row.
Yes, certainly a much more traditional air raid composition that we are now seeing from Relentless, with Matey going on to that Winston. And a pretty good support comp as well. Matey wants to take this high ground immediately. Again, put pressure in Crown. Some nice skeet shooting, taking down Runaway. And they're probably going to have a res for that, though, as Nox tries to look for it. But yeah, they begin to hard disengage. It looks like they're trying to find some footing to coordinate a dive. Scrub is putting in massive amounts of damage, though, with this Mercy damage boost around the statue, and Raven is doing a lot, creating a lot of space rolling through this team. But again, they finally now get some percentage on point, but Matey immediately falls. A nice anti, though, does find the front line of Velocity, but I think it's going to be too much to handle. Without the main tank, they're going to lose a lot of that engagement value.
They are, and they're going to be forced it back here. I personally love Raven's ball choice here into the McCree. It's almost as if Raven's daring Crown to say, what would you like to do? Would you like to stun me on ball, or would you like to look to the skies to focus? You can't do everything. So trying to force Crown to just live outside of how much he can do and really kind of rise above. And, you know, I think that strategy is really working for them. As you saw him try to get the stun pan, they're going to go ahead and clean through this engagement. The dive has worked. They do get both tanks in, and this is the tank show. Matey and Raven clean up 4 altogether to go ahead and take point 1. But I really love the ball. I think they should stay on it as much as they possibly can. You know, keep Crown engaged on ball. Make him choose between whether he wants to stun the ball and play back at that, or whether he's going to look to the skies. Either way, the other side's going to get value. So would really be expecting to see Madera, despite those engagement points, make a rotation here to help out his buddy.
Yeah, Crown gets caught out a bit, but there we go. We got the barrage from Scrub, and he does find Crown. Does fall pretty low himself, but the Mercy is on it with that valve. They immediately trade, though. Hina falls to a nice Doomfist punch, but he trades it for his life. Raven chasing him all the way back into spawn. The Resurrect comes out, so his hard work is completely erased. The Mistake Eraser, you can call that Resurrectability. And all this time, they're curing percentage. A beat and a deep bomb is invested by Velocity, though, and they find Nox. they finally have an answer here with the dive of their own, the mech kill as well. Deadly Mouse, I believe, getting this third mech kill of the match, and answers it again by finding Scrub. Great work, a nice display of the Octane capability on Velocity. But again, right as I say that, it isn't over. Matey finds the Lucio, Caliber does fall, but I think finally, even with this respawn advantage, maybe they have to back. Nope, Matey decides to press the advantage and trades it with his life, but Relentless does have a lot of favor in the kill feed. The respawns did prove beneficial for him.
They did, and with the ball and that air comp, they get back so fast that, you know, I really think that Velocity doesn't want that fight. They don't want this long, extended, kind of staggered fight, just because the natural return of the fight, the natural re-engagements of the air raid, as you put it, you know, they just come back so much faster than them. And we're going to see Bogfern swap to the Monkey here, so we're going to have some monkey-on-monkey violence. But just in general, they don't want that fight. They want to close it out, win it definitively, and then get back out.
Hita falls immediately. That is a massive pick, as Bogfern isn't able to find much with the Firewall, though. Crown, nice shots, taking down Scrub. And again, it commences on the objective here. It looks like Raven does get caught out a bit, falling below half, and Matey enters the kill on Caliber. The Moira doing a little bit of a support alpha move, taking out Nock and Madeira. I believe that's the second of the fight, finding Raven.
Absolutely. We love the Doom. Oh, and he does fall to Matey at the end, but Bogfern says, hey, that's my Doomfist. Goes ahead and staggers Matey. Gets Matey out. Not sure I like the commitment. Had to get the punch in just to kill the Doom. But yeah, absolutely. And we're still on the double comp, and, you know, Velocity just unbothered by the double air raid comp. Crown doing the best he can and doing a damn good job at it. Have him stop here on corner 3 right before second point. So it's still going to be the story of the day. Looks like Scrub's on his what I feel like is probably his 18th or 19th barrage of the game, and we'll see how he pulls it out, see if he can get the defense matrix out. There it is.
Coalescence goes up, but Bogfern kills him with the bubble coming down from the sky, and immediately answers the Pharmacy duo with a Mercy, gets found by the Diva Bomb. What an excellent usage of ults from Velocity.
Absolutely, you know, that was what and Scrub's like, okay, you know, get killed by a bubble, time to go to the McCree. So Scrub switches off back to the McCree, or to the McCree for the first time in the game. But we love that. I feel like that was one of the that could be a YouTube video, Avid, the Overwatch curios with the bubble falling from the sky. The Pharah barrage into the bubble and dies. What a happy accident. You know, I'm sure that Matey will be in my DMs telling me that was, or I'm sorry, rather, Bogfern will be in my DMs telling me that wasn't an accident. That's exactly what he intended. But regardless, a great play, and we're going to see some more traditional Overwatch now that we have McCrees on both sides.
Great job. Raven is going to engage with the mines here, and Matey finds Crown immediately at the beginning of this fight. Madeira, though, looks for a Meteor Strike and chooses to go on the top of this roof, setting up a rollout. A huge seismic slam damage, but isn't going to find much with Caliber's beat drop coming out. And Bogfern has the Primal online, though. Does he choose to invest? He does. Running after Scrub with a big Winston in his face. A very dangerous situation to be caught in. But again, we have a little bit of a split fight. Sub on card, Sub is being pushed back. We have a high noon. Scrub goes out, waiting for this bubble to go down, seeing if he could possibly take out Caripio, and he cannot. Crown takes out Runaway, and Relentless is doing a great deal of patience to hold this point once again.
Yeah, they're playing very well, and they're playing together. You know, I love the Bogfern jumping in on 211 HP there. He's almost daring them. Said, okay, you're clearly not going to do anything about me, so I'm going to jump in on Primal, even though I only have 200 HP. Let's see if you do anything about it. And it paid off for him. They didn't. So Scrub said, we're not doing McCree. We're going back to the Pharah. We know it works. So that was a really fast and interesting rotation here, but as you can tell, this Pharah and this ball, you know, the air course and the ball is really, they're going to have to make some adjustments. We see mines to open the fight.
Yeah, Raven with another minefield, looking for what he can find. A little bit of a misplaced Diva Bomb, but it does still find Nock. Runaway and Nock, as well as Matey, are now down for Relentless, and Velocity is in an excellent situation to hold this.
Absolutely. Looks like we're going for a rollout yet again as he's going to dive back into the fight. Looks like it's just cleanup here on point 2, and it looks like this is going to be a pretty quick win on this side for Velocity. They really are going to have to make some adjustments. It seems like Velocity definitely has the double air raid comp figured out. They know they're going to come out on it. It's like Crown knows where he should be looking. Deadly Mouse says we're going to see the play here not to be overlooked, doing some great work herself against the double air raid comp, the Echo and the Pharah, and it really feels to me like they're going to have to make some switches to get out of what Velocity's expecting if they want to have any hope, because that looked like a decidedly more one-sided game than the first one, Avid.
right? Velocity has made, an incredible adjustment. They're beginning to play a little bit more patient, a little bit more back. They want to give Crown as much space as possible for him to, do some skeet shooting on this double fly.
For sure.
And because of that, they just give their DPS some space. They do a great job with Bogford and Deadly Mouse re-engaging after Crown's done a little bit of damage, and bam, they clean up so incredibly well. And what I'm seeing is, they're starting to apply a bit of pressure. We saw this at the beginning of the series on map 1 of Ilios, where Relentless, when they were able to run a strategy that they were comfortable with, found a little bit of success. They basically just steamrolled that map. But it was the exact same thing with Velocity. Once they got some swagger to them, were able to use strategy that they practiced in scrims, they were able to dominate.
Absolutely, and it really feels like Velocity's kind of cracked the code here. They knew they were going to see the Flyers again. They came out, they were ready for it. Crown was ready for it. Deadly Mouse was ready for it. It really feels like they knew what to expect and that they were ready to play against it. And, Scrub has to be somewhat frustrated with their team just because, like I commented during the game, I feel like Scrub probably had at least 6 or 7 barrages that game. They've got a tremendous amount of economy. They keep generating ults really, really fast, especially with that Mercy pocket, but it's just not enough. It's just not deriving enough value long term, as we saw, the continued output from Crown as well as Madeira and the Doomfist in and out of their team, just making short work. And we talked about it before. I definitely think there's some tank diff going on here too, just giving Crown all the space he needs to be able to focus on those Flyers up top and at least not give Runaway those engagements that they're really looking for. Kind of take some suboptimal angles like we saw, them getting shut down pretty quickly. I think that's going to be the ticket, and really, I really want to see Relentless make some switches here in order to kind of get away from what Velocity is expecting out of them.
Yeah, certainly. And really, Scrub's lack of success, even with some great play, is due to Deadly Mouse's diva performance. They've
True.
done a great job saving Matrix, even, shutting down Reaper plays when we saw that finally get, pushed out. Deadly Mouse is having an incredible performance, which allows Crown to, put in the work that Crown has been putting in the entirety of King's Row. So going into the third map here, though, I want to point something out. Relentless chooses to make a switch on the off-tank position. Relic coming in. Relic being known, at least a bit to my knowledge, as a Sigma specialist. And I think this is a fairly good pick. It could go either way. If they choose to play passive and not let this incredibly intense Velocity brawl that they have found so much success on and just play to the advantage of Sigma's poke, maybe it could be incredibly successful. But hey, who knows until we, finally get into the thick of it. And one thing I do want to point out, though, is a little bit on the support line. One thing I find it interesting when we, get the opportunity to cast these wonderful matches is supports, you don't really notice them until they don't do their job. But one thing I was noticing was that Caliber and Krikio were on their game. Krikio immediately engaging with every single coalescence. Zero hesitation. Again, that's that swagger that I'm talking about. Is they know when to engage. They know how to press the advantage, and they had some incredibly, great support play.
They did, for sure. And that being said, a continuation of that too, that Baptiste swag, right? It felt like the second we had window was popping and we were all able to shoot through the window and maximize it. One of the best things that supports do is, especially based on their generation of ults happens pretty quickly, is weaponizing them and not holding them for the perfect moment. Watching all those windows come out as quickly as they do, he seemed to have one, specifically on Ilios, seemed to have one almost one every fight. That is huge. We got to see supports weaponize their ultimates. That way your team can use it. There was at one point when we saw the monkey get nanoed and the jump in. Love to see it. The supports rowing economy, the longer they can survive, the more economy they have, especially if they can enable a DPS like Scrub that's just looking for just that extra ounce of value to tip the game and become a hard carry, or Crown to really be able to nano even a McCree to make sure they can play back and two-shot each of those Flyers. Makes all the difference in the world. So you're absolutely right. Shout out supports. Every support the game's playing well, but I totally agree. Caliber and Koriko, big time swag on the support line.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more, and I think I agree even more now with Relentless's tank switch up. We have Hanamura as the third map choice. A very, very, very high damage, aggressive choke point. That's what defines this first objective on Hanamura. This is where, teams can really get caught out. You see a lot of Symmetra stats because they're trying to escape, this extremely closed corridor that they have to immediately brawl in. So I imagine Relentless's strategy here is they want to go for something that is incredibly pokey. We saw the, Orisa Sigma composition on Ilios well. We could see a bit of that again, playing to something high damage, and you know what else? else that favors? Pharmacy, which we already know Relentless is incredibly comfortable with. So I'm curious how this swap, is the differential, if there is going to be a little bit of a performance switch, because Velocity doing an incredible job, 2-0 on the series. It's really just, a matter of time.
Absolutely. I'm really not surprised to see this pick out of Relentless, like you said, for the reasons that especially point A really does lend itself well to double flyer comps, pharmacy comps. You kind of create something we don't talk about a lot in the booth, but something that's accurate is there's that big linear lane, right, in between the giant gate at Hanamura and point A. That lane, that whole box, that whole recessed area is basically a built-in kill box to the map. So if they're able to focus multiple angles into that kill box naturally, the way they would be able to if you bring a Pharah over the top left, for example, you're pushing from the front, or even you telly back behind, you can create those kill lanes, you can create the engagements exactly the way you want them inside of multiple angle fire. That's gonna really give them the advantage. And if they're gonna choose to play a double shield, play some frontline damage while they're going to allow Scrubbed and Hina to go over the back on the pharmacy or come over the side, or maybe they're going to bring a telly and try to jump right to port to duck that kill box altogether. I think that's really strong. I think that this map in particular is a very good pick for the double flyer approach of Relentless, but again, Velocity's ready for it. So they're going to have to make sure they're yet a step ahead of them even more so and say, hey, we know that you know that I know, it's going to turn into Inception here pretty quick, but they know that Velocity knows that they want to come out on that double flyer, especially on a map like this. I'm sure this is exactly what Velocity's talking about in lobby right now. So really interested to see how they're going to get around that, but this really could be a great pick of a map for Relentless. Very intelligent Overwatch.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing that I am somewhat intrigued about is, from what I know, at least from Relentless, is that Sky Sniper is actually like their hit scan specialist, or at least that long range DPS specialist. That's something we see a lot on Hanamura, especially with all of these, very advantageous high grounds on both first and second point defense. So I'm curious, even with the performance that we've seen with Velocity coming up 2-0, that they're choosing not to make this switch, because a lot of the answers that Velocity has looked for is shutting down this double fly, and they seem to have it figured out. But I do have kudos, though. Relentless is confident. They want to have this. They want to force this to work. Obviously, it's worked in the past. It's got them here into their division finals. So it is a little bit intriguing of how if they're going to adapt, or if they're going to continue to just change their compositional mentality a bit and continue to use this double fly.
Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what they bring out. The addition of Relic is really interesting too. Really looking forward. They clearly have some kind of plan here, right? They picked the map. They immediately rotate in Relic. We'll definitely have to see exactly what the idea here is. Really interested to see if it is just gonna look like a normal Overwatch comp match, and we're gonna see double telly. If we don't see double telly, we'll see if we see the flyers. Definitely interesting, and this is, again, no switches on the side of Velocity. So Velocity likes what's going on right now. They're going to try to keep this exactly the way they are. Looks like we're waiting for just a ready from one of the teams here, and it looks like, Avid, we've lost your beautiful face here on the stream. So I'll apologize to everyone in chat that is complaining about not being able to see the gorgeous countenance of my fellow co-caster here. We might throw it to just a quick 10-second break here to see if we can't reset Avid's cam and get the glory that is both casters' faces back on screen. are back. Sorry about that, everyone. It looks like we were able, at least hopefully in the preview pane here, we were able to get Avid's face back, so we should be seeing him show up momentarily. We're going to go ahead and launch the game as we do have readies for both captains. And we're going to see exactly if what we're talking about is going to play out as we're going to get right into picking some comps here for Hanamura.
And again, you have two different approaches to how, if you're on the attacking side, how do you look at your Hanamura offense? You have the classic sim TP strat, either taking that left high ground or going straight to point. That's one way that you can avoid, this huge spam damage that is so incredibly popular on a map like Hanamura. Or you have the other option. Just be built different. Run a comp directly at their face, out-brawl them. And that's definitely something that we could see. It looks like we do have a pause, though, coming out from Caliber.
Game paused.
What's the problem?
Let me look.
All right, welcome back yet again, everyone. We juked you. You thought we were good to go, but it took us a second. Just kidding. One of the players had some audio issues. We got that resolved. Looks like we're back into the action here, and we can immediately start talking about comps. And it looks like they're gonna come out on the same comp we saw them in before, with the Crown and Deadly Mouse having to go to work versus the Doom. But if you take a look, and we still got 18 seconds for them to change their mind, but take a look at Relentless here, going with the May Reaper, Rhine Sig, the Bap Lucio look. So we're looking for them. No telly, speed up the right side, see if they can't ISO a wall. I don't know if they're ready for this. This is exactly the kind of switch I wanted to see, Evan.
Exactly. The strategy here, just be built different. They're going to be looking for a great May wall coming out from Scrub and Runaway, putting in some massive frontline damage. Let's see what they are able to do. They press through this choke point, but don't see a lot of presence from Velocity just yet. They dive off that high ground, incredibly aggressive, and Scrub hits nice shots on Materia, and he falls. And they don't have to even use the wall. Bogsburn is immediately going to go down. I don't think they expected this massive trap that they laid with Freeze and Reaper going out. There's not much they can do once they get into Relentless's face, and Runaway's going to clean up everything that we see on the objective.
Yeah, honestly, what a weird engagement for point one Hanamura. Looks like we're gonna go ahead and try to get the cleanup. Runaway is gonna get the cleanup on Crown, but I'm not sure exactly what Velocity was expecting here. Holding that top right high ground, we saw Madara staged over to the top left. We're gonna move right into a point to attack, but even if they were on the double flyer there, they would have seen them staged in the non-traditional way. What happened was they allowed a brawl comp right through choke. It was like a dream come true for Relentless.
Yeah, and they're putting presence on point immediately. They just go through main, almost getting that first tick, but Materia has this high ground looking to set something up. Both supports are now down for Relentless, though, and that spells success if you're on the defense team.
Absolutely, huge defense, and we're gonna see the switch to Junkrat just for the spam. I love it. Crown saying, "Oh, we're not doing the double flyer thing. Sweet, I'll play the Junkrat, right? Spam into your brawl comp, even though you're on the double shield." Right away, Madara goes to work, gets a big slam, kills the Rhine off the bat, and they're gonna hold point two. They said, "Okay, enough of that. We're not giving you a second free point here," as they're gonna look to stabilize on high ground, and we're gonna see. Looks like pardon me, we're going to see Relentless re-engage from top as well. But again, look for this Mei wall. We're coming up on some economy. It looks like a big skill orb is going to go ahead and take down the Mei early. That's going to shut them down in their tracks. That's a big part of their engagement strategy, Evan.
Yeah, that is a massive stagger as Scrub gets fallen down there, but I'm genuinely surprised. I think that was Madeira putting some additional damage on, and then again, that skill orb just finishing the job there initially. That's going to buy them, you know, an entire team fight worth of time, them just getting back from spawn. Madeira is getting set up here, though. He's going to have the Meteor Strike online, and Kariko is going to have a Coalescence looking as an initial engage. Again, very early they want to look for this Meteor Strike, seeing if he can find much, but I think he just chooses to go back to his team. A very safe play, but probably an intelligent one. They acknowledge that he's stuck on the bridge, and they choose to run at him. He gets out, you taking advantage of some nice Doomfist abilities there. But Runaway and Scrub both having DPS ults on the line. Relentless in a good position to secure some kills here. Kariko does a defensive Coalescence to keep his front line up. And finally, they choose to move to the objective. Shatter does come out, only finds Runaway, and a huge Blossom takes down 3. The main tank and both supports are stripped away from the Runaway as he finds himself 4.
That was, what a Blossom yet again. You know, and it's funny, Scrub almost had a completely free. That's gonna be it. No recontest. That's gonna be a lockdown with almost 4 minutes on the clock. What a great switch. That's exactly what we wanted to see from Relentless. But on point, on the first attack there, I don't know if you were watching, Evan, while we had all the Coalescence and the Shatter and the, you know, the Sigma ult, the Graviton Flux happening up on the high ground. Scrub's on the low ground by himself on point, almost nailed the entire tick. I believe Scrub had 32.5% himself before he got any kind of contestation on point. So Scrub, sneaky, already on point, waiting for someone to come challenge him on Mei so they can take that one-on-one. Really well executed by Relentless. Really love to see it. Velocity's got some time to put in the bank here if they want to make this up and really start kind of making this a contest again.
Certainly, and I think we gave them, you know, usually you hear something called a caster's jinx. We gave them a caster blessing. We saw a bit of, you know, once they finally switched up that composition, that double fly that they weren't finding a lot of success for, they dominated. Nearly 4 minutes on Hanamura is nothing less than impressive, especially in such a competitive match here in the Tier 3 Division Finals. But with an initial look on this defense, we have a double main tank, Mady on the Orisa, Relic on the Reinhardt, with, again, that incredibly high damage composition. Nock got that damage boost on Runaway, and Hina, some nice defensive capability with that immortality.
Yeah, really surprised to not see McCree. Madeira has been an absolute threat, terrorizing them from engaging from strange angles. Would really assume we would have seen a McCree on a stun. Wonder if that's a hero pool limitation or a calculated choice. Regardless, they're definitely going for the spam approach. They're simply going to put a lot of damage downrange in a linear fashion and really see if they can't stifle them right in their path just by the virtue of the massive amounts of damage coming out. But again, this could be the Madeira show with no stun ready to shut him down. He can get in and stay in.
And he chooses to go. He goes to the top of this side dojo trying to set up, but the Junkrat wants to take this duel. Bird takes out Relic immediately as they fall down. Karikyo and both supports are immediately falling on Relentless. Oh no! The strategy ended up not working and they set the pace incredibly well. What happened?
Definitely. I mean, that was, again, a strange, atypical engagement there. They pushed on the right side. You saw Madeira come in and take that high ground off the back. That worked out great. Once the rest of his team pushed forward, he came crashing in, got 2 for himself. Of course, helped by the fact that Crown, going nuts in the front line, also got 2. And Bogfern immediately with the RMD, the Rectangle Man diff up front, just all equal the fight that was just too easy for him.
Brown immediately engaging Runaway off of that middle high ground, and he has to fall just to save his life. A charge from Relic, though, does find Madeira, so they now have the numbers advantage, but hey, Reaper shotguns in your back is a recipe for disaster, and Relic falls too. Fogburn, an immediate answer, and the Coalescence does get popped by Rikio, though, and they're looking to secure this fight immediately. Oh, but they're not done yet. An immediate investment of Bob, but hey, he sends them all the way down. Not exactly the spot that they were looking for as Runaway, a sacrifice. And an old Fiesta here, and Relentless is trying to fight for this as much as they possibly can, scrapping at straws, and they're finding a bit of success, but I think they're going to get 2 CP'd on this one as respawns begin to come out. Crown immediately answers after his life with 2, but no, they are still securing percentage on this point, only with 2 members alive. They get a tick and a half. But again, as those respawns come out, it's a little bit dangerous. Runaway does take out Bogfern, and I think they're finally going to choose to disengage. An incredibly scrappy fight.
Definitely a scrappy fight. Ults left and right. We have to take stock of what we're left with here. As we can see, it looks like Velocity still has the Shatter, Madera still has the ult in, and the big one, the beat. And it looks like with both Tire, we are gonna see the Echo swap the Runaway. You know, gotta get back to playing with what feels like home. I actually think it's a good time to make the swap, but you know, definitely have to see some huge economy out of Velocity. Be looking for them to weaponize it here, and it looks like Caliber's gonna fall early. That doesn't bode well.
He immediately does find Caliber, but a nice window from Hina does help them doing that in transition. And Relentless having a great show. I think that initial damage from the window was just too much to handle in transition, and they're going to clean up very fast.
Yeah, they're going to clean up fast. They're going to disengage. I assume part of that fight was definitely to commit beat. But now look, because they got the early pick on Caliber, they weren't able to commit beat. Well, look, here's Scrub with a Tire, right? So that means they're definitely going to have to use the beat reactive with the Tire or suffer time bank detriment for another. And we're going to get an early Tire. That's kind of an interesting angle. It might get killed. Looks like it's going to go up and around the roof. Deadly Mouse looking for it. Kiriko ends up taking it out, so eat my own words there here, as it looks like they're not going to have to commit the beat. They're going to beat on the way in, and it looks like we're going to get right into it.
Yes, the Demon Bomb as well coming out, but not finding much, and maybe hitting a really nice shatter does find 3. Materia does enter on knock, and the brawl immediately on point. Great engage from Velocity using that beat. They kick them off high ground and get them where they want them. Doomfist and Reaper in close quarters is a recipe for change, and Runaway's doing all that he can. Does have the Mercy attached to him, so maybe he can find something. Matey does find the Baby Diva. Crown taking out Runaway. And some nice damage from the Reaper does putting a lot of pressure on Matey's wall. It's a nice hook though from Relic, shuts Crown down. Not able to do much if you're back in spawn, buddy. And the respawns begin to come back for the defense though, and they're gonna have to hard back. A crazy max range hook from Relic takes down Caliber.
He said, no, get back here, but that was a massive first hook. And we talk about the hook on Crown. What a hook up front. Crown was at 99%, just ticked over to the 100%, just got the white check mark for the ultimate. Second, he did it, ended up getting hooked and dying, but if he would have been able to get that Blossom off, that might not have been good either. So what a massive and extremely well-timed hook, and of course, just for the camera, I had to follow it up with a max range on the Lucio and say, no, 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 get back here. We're going to go right into the next fight.
And here we have 3 ultimates for Velocity. They're going to be looking to secure that last tick, and they do a good job. Materia does take down the Mercy immediately, and Crown follows it up with an ultimate of his own, taking out Runaway, and that's 4. Immediately, they're going to have a desperation attempt to clean up, but I think the ults are too much in favor for Velocity.
Absolutely, and Deadly Mouse popping. Deadly Mouse with a 3-piece and no ult to do it with. Just primary fire on the Diva and some smart positioning. Just cleaning up on point and melting. Using that defense matrix to soak damage incoming for their team. And just using that Diva guns, the annoying gnats that are Diva guns to take out 3. That was a huge play. Of course, Madera with another big slam in. Finally able to get it done. But they're staring down the barrel of a huge time disadvantage here as Relentless still has basically what effectively constitutes a 2 full minute advantage.
Yeah, usually we'd say that was an incredibly great offense, but following, you know, a record almost 4-minute time from Relentless, it doesn't look like much. But hey, they did an incredible job though. Using some ultimate advantages, they slowly chipped away at progress and they kept themselves in this series. On the defense, it looks like there is a little bit of a discussion of what they want to run. Relic and Matey are going to be having that Orisa Reinhardt combination, but now with a Mei and a Ashe.
Yeah, you have to wonder how much, you know, what the Mei is for here. I don't think they're going to let them push straight through. You almost have to wonder if the Mei is in some part for Madera on the Doom. Again, really interesting. They haven't switched off the Doom yet. Not that Madera's been super impactful, but he's certainly annoying when he's on point, just combo breakering, just rolling through cooldown. So no McCree yet again to counter. Have to wonder if that isn't part of Scrub's thought process here. Regardless, I love it. It's a lot of damage and a lot of zone front. We'll see what they're able to do.
Yeah, immediately, I think they're going to try to just have an aggressive brawl that Velocity found success taking that first point win. They're going to look for a positional mistake, possibly from Matey and Relic. Immediately, though, some point pressure is going to be put on, and Deadly Mouse sacrifices his mech off this initial engage. Runaway finds Bog's burn, and they're going to have to back very aggressively. A nice fire strike against Caliber, who was falling from the sky after a wall ride, and they're going to hold this first attack.
They're a very, very, very strong hold there. Looks like the Rhine, poor Bogfern got pretty piled up on there with the May icicle shot and the boosted ash shot right in the face as they move through. Be looking for a huge wall here as Velocity tries to push through. Really trying to see if they can't isolate Bogfern as he comes through with the D.Va. Get a wall, get him killed quickly with the spam damage, and then move on to the rest of the team. So we'll be looking for Scrub to get a massive wall on the way in.
Yeah, and some incredibly aggressive pace. Bogfern almost trades it for his life, but Crown and his DPS have his back. Relic falls as well as the Ash, and they did an incredible job using that speed boost to their advantage, something that we don't see on the defensive side. Taking advantage of getting in their face, and Crown doing some excellent damage with Deadly Mouse, done cleanup crew.
Deadly Mouse 3-piece again, baby. Deadly Mouse, the Elim queen on that D.Va, just absolutely mowing through people that aren't quite full health. I don't know if you caught that, Avid. Double melee kills. And this next engagement sure to be a fun one as we see Scrub rotate the Bastion into the double shield. They're full send at this point, gonna load a Bastion into a bunker behind the double shield and see what they can't do. They've about had it with Velocity just pushing right into them, I think.
Yeah, but with how well they're able to use Lucio's speed boost, if they're able to push them off high ground and close this gap, it could be deadly. But oh, an incredibly big shatter from Maney, sends 2 on the ground, and Bogfern loses his life. Off that, they don't have to commit anything other than the shatter, and they're going to have a huge ultimate time bank going into last fight territory.
They are. Not to call Scrub a non-factor, but I'm not in love with that bottom position. Obviously, it's to keep Scrub safe, but didn't have to do anything. Shoot up at the angle. The shatter was so big that it just... The shadow out of Relic just kind of ended the fight before it started, where they even had to see the Bastion. So we'll be interested to see what happens here. But between the Bastion, it looks like Matey's going to pop the Bongo early to power up that Bastion. We're going to see a Bob come out. Would have liked to see the Bongo power up the Bob, but it might be too many ults to handle.
Materia gets the touch, but trades it for his life. That's a lot of damage with a window and a Bongo. Scrub is lasering. Fights 2, and the DPMX going to be the next victim. And there's not much that they can do to stop Scrub, and Relentless made that. Crown is able to take him out, but the damage may be done. Hina does find Kurikio, and a Blossom is going to be enough to do it. It was too much damage to handle at the beginning, and I think they're going to hold this second point.
Absolutely. It's going to be a hard hold here. They're just going to go ahead and clean him up. The tank comes out just for BMs for the last because he got res. But yeah, just the Orisa Bongo into the Bastion, that was just too much. You know, there was just nothing that they could do about that. It was so much damage forward. That's exactly what we expected to see. The first time was a little more play focus around the Bastion on either the low ground or the high ground in the corner. You know, and given the time and how they had to engage and get on point there, that was just a Scrub show. Scrub licking his lips as they walked to point to just mow him down.
Yeah, certainly, and it worked out exactly. I think the late, the really early Bongo from Matey and the window on Scrub, they knew that they were going to have to aggress onto second point a little bit sparingly, and they paid the price for it. Materia falls immediately and Bogfern shortly after, which again, there's not much in answer to, you know, I believe a quadruple damage boost from a Bongo and a window coming at you from a Bastion. There's just not much you can do, but hey, looking at this defense, it's something that's pretty comfortable for the side of Velocity. We got Materia, though, on the McCree and Crown on the Reaper. I think they may be expecting now, you know, again, that brawl that was so successful for the attack of Relentless.
Absolutely, and you know, we see the May yet again. Scrub's like, hey, I like this May thing. We should keep doing this. You know, Scrub comes out on the May, so we're going to continue to see the May push, but this might be a lot more of a toe-to-toe game, and we are going to see some rotation for Matey on Sigma, and it looks like they might come out on a Hog. We'll see if they end up keeping it, but this is going to be a lot more of a toe-to-toe match than it has been thus far, and I think the May is going to be the win con here big time.
Yeah, I think Relentless is going to be playing a little bit of a game of chess. They're going to wait for Velocity to make any mistakes as possible and then answer that with a freeze or a hook. But as long as Velocity just bunkers down here, they should be pretty successful with the strategy that they have. Holding this right wall is Velocity, and again, they don't have to take much damage. As long as they're able to rush onto the enemy when it gets there. A nice hook from Relic, though. But Bogfern doesn't take much damage. The wall is a little bit behind, so isn't able to do much separation. And Immortality, though, does come out from Hina. A nice hook, but isn't able to find. Kurikio did have that fade at their disposal. So again, no sides have traded, but Bogfern does have the Shatter online. Only a Sigma shield to stop it. I imagine he wants to look for something here. Window pops, he looks for it, and he finds 5! A massive Shatter.
Oh, man.
Bogfern.
What an absolute slam. Says the whole team says, okay, we're about done with this pokey fight. I think it's time that we send you guys back from whence you came. hits them with a massive slam. The team gets in and cleans them up. You know, really interesting. They're all grouped up behind the left door. What I would have loved to see is Scrub put a wall up in their face, run the whole team up behind the wall, drop the wall, and yell, "Surprise! We got a Reaper and a Ryan right in your mouth." Allow them to get in, but so you can weaponize the Naywall in more ways than to isolate the team. Sometimes you can use it to close, and that's what I would have loved to have seen.
Huge hook doesn't find Madeira's Deadeye, not able to find much there, and a bin finds Caliber, but not with answers of their own. Velocity takes out both supports, and Crown cleans up too. They're gonna have to immediately back out. In a great initial engage, but in the mid-fight, there was too much work being done by Bogford and Crown.
Absolutely. I love the BM on the Reaper on Reaper Violence there at the end. Crown just casually waltzing behind Runaway as he's wraithing out. The second he comes out of Wraith, just drops one shotgun shell right into the back of his head. Point blank, broad daylight. Gets the 4th kill of the engagement and cleans it up. Secures the Blossom for himself, and we might have a game after all here.
Yeah, certainly. Again, they want to aggress very passionately, and the Deeper Bomb does go. That's going to kite some aggression. It finds 2. Both supports from Relentless are immediately stripped, and Crown does choose to invest the Death Blossom, though. And Scrub's not able to, you know, give this up. He does find Crown and Bogford. They immediately fall. It's now a only 1-man advantage. And they choose to draw this point and commit more. Deadly Mouse does finally clean up too, though. And I think they're going to continue to hold this. A huge cost investment. But no, the respawns are there. Relentless is choosing to push off of this. Both supports and Mady are on this point. And it's going to be a lot to go into when you have such sustainability with this Baptiste.
It is, and it's going to be a huge shatter out back. Looks like everyone just trying frantically to get back to the point. Another Blossom is going to be huge. A Shatter Blossom coming out. And just another bomb out of Mouse with a remake kill as the cherry on top to take out 3. Lucio finds the round. Crown goes down to a hook shot from the Relic. Deadly Mouse finally out of mech on point. And it looks like Madeira is going to end up getting finished off, and they might end up capping this after all. A really heads-up point play by Relentless to keep the pressure on the point. Absolutely. Yeah. They had some spawn advantage. They had some people off. They knew it. They pushed it, and it ended up winning them point 1.
Yeah, and it was at a great cost. Scrub gets found out there. Caliber says, "You're going to chase me." No, I'm the one hunting you. Takes out Scrub, and all they're going to really have is the window for this initial engage. But they do put themselves in a great position. They haven't picked up a map in this series yet, but the worst thing that can happen is a draw here. So they've put themselves in a great position to at least find, you know, some success. They can't be hurt by this. Caliber is going to have that B drop online, though, as an initial answer, and I appreciate Relentless taking their time here. They want to make sure that they engage well, since we are now in last fight territory, and they choose to take the bridge. A nice speed boost in a window, staring right at the high ground, and both supports immediately are found again from Velocity. It seems that the supports have been found first on both sides, and the brawl being commenced on point, it's going to be incredibly difficult for Velocity to do much.
Absolutely, and this they're just going to clean him up here. Velocity does get the beat, which should buy some time for the respawn. Will it be enough to get some people back here? And it looks like they are going to end up getting some people back. And we are going to have a little bit of a stagger fight in our hand as Ball comes in and slams. And the huge boss on the Crown gets hooked and shut down immediately with the melee kill. Ash goes down. Koriko takes out the Roadhog and Mady killing Caliper on the Lucio. It still looks like it's got to be Relentless' fight here, but definitely had him in questioning for a minute. We'll see if Bogford can come up with these mines or not before he's going to end up going down.
Yeah, certainly, and you're getting your money's worth here, since you know getting 2 CP, but it doesn't matter in the end. Relentless pulling up their pants, changing the strategy that we saw in map 2, and they're finally able to take the first map, making this a 2-1 series, still in favor of Velocity, though.
Absolutely. You know, Mady committed what I would have considered to be a mistake there. I'm sure he'll watch this in VOD or watch back in VOD and go, oops, which was then a massive shatter for the 5-piece again. Again, it's glorious to behold, but you know, when Mady pinned off the point in that last engagement, missed the Diva and pinned off the point, had to go down. I was screaming in the back going, no, no, stand on point and swing, you know, swing the hammer, walk with the big stick like you do. But in the end, it didn't matter. He was able to get back on point and continue the fight. Absolutely some huge cooldown utilizations, the hook shutting down the Blossom. Just what a fight. Like you said, well worth the price of admission, and Relentless picks up their first map of the series.
Yeah, certainly, and one thing that I thoroughly enjoyed was Relentless was, you know, they had a defined strategy, right? If you're going to run that, you know, Reaper, May, you're wanting to get up close and personal. But if you didn't see, Relic was kind of that wild card addition to this composition. Relic played the Sigma, where you'd usually see like a Diva or even a Zarya, as well as the Roadhog. Usually the off tanks that you wouldn't see in this compositional mentality, but they were able to make it work. Relic putting in insane value on the Roadhog there at the end, shutting down ultimate after ultimate and hitting some key opener hooks that, led them to a really, really solid victory here. Even though it was an incredibly close match, Relentless is making a huge statement. Kobe, I don't know about you, but I'm one person that I believe Overwatch is a game of mentality. It doesn't matter if you're able to, hit some nice shots. If you're winning the mental game, you'll win the series. And what they've done here is they have finally rallied the troops. They understand that, hey, this is something that's going to work, and we're going to make it work. And obviously, they found a lot of success with it.
Absolutely, love the switch. They identified, okay, they seem to be ready for the double flyer. We're gonna move to a brawl, and look what happens. It worked out for them. I absolutely agree with you. Overwatch is a game of mental. It's just as much mental as it is mechanical. And I think the old adage here, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. Definitely applies here. And Relentless says, you know what? We can't come out in the brawl. We don't need our flyers. We're gonna go to work. We're gonna get it done, and that's exactly what they did on Hanamura. And interestingly enough, we're going to go ahead and pick another map that's extremely well suited to flyers. And this is interesting, especially given that it's Velocity's choice. Looks like we're going to be rotating into Rialto, for our escort map. And again, a map that one would traditionally associate with a pharmacy map or being an echo map. So really interested to see if it's almost a goad by Velocity to say, come on, Relentless, rotate back to your flyers. We liked it better when we could handle the flyers, no problem. Get away from this May stuff.
Yeah, honestly, I agree with you. But another thing is, like, as well as it's suited, for a double fly, it's a lot of space to cover. So that you don't usually see, especially at the highest level of play, you don't usually see a brawl. In Velocity's mindset, they know that they did have a little bit of difficulty handling Relentless's brawl when they were able to bring it out on Hanamura and find a lot of, great value from it. So if they put them on a map that they're comfortable with this double fly, where they want to cater to that, where Velocity has found success in countering it due to some incredibly good and patient play and some nice shots from Crown, they know that, they're able to finally, create a stop to this and continue their momentum throughout this series. So maybe it is a little bit of a bait, but maybe it's a little bit of comfortability because they want to force them off this brawl, since that's the only thing that Relentless has been able to do to answer Velocity's brawl of its own.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. I really do think that could be the case here. Or yet again, there's always the, hey, this is the map we play in scrims. Certain teams obviously prepare for certain maps of certain game types. If they're thinking, especially, all right, when we get to escort, we're locking Rialto. We have a top side strat. We're gonna weaponize Doomfist off the top here. Whatever it is they're thinking, whether they're trying to stage Madeira or they have a specific strat for a specific player. Regardless, love the map, love the choice. I think it plays to both teams' strengths in different ways. We'll have to see exactly what plays out here, but I think you said it. Relentless certainly has the mental game coming back here. We'll see if they can even the series 2-2.
Yeah, certainly, and we do have a swap coming in for Velocity. They are going to take out Caliber and put in Jay. I don't know much about this player, but I do believe that Jay is a specialist when they usually run hit scans. Like it's more of like a Mercy Baptiste combination that they like to run. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Crown, come out on the Ashe, taking advantage of like those really long sight lines on first point as well as second point, which works out really well if Relentless does choose to end up doing this double fly. But again, one thing I have to do is give kudos to both of these teams, because usually, sitting here in the casting booth, we get to talk about, like, oh, here are some things that they need to change. Here are some mistakes that both teams are making. But the reality is both teams are running each comp that they have decided, each strategy, extremely well. We've seen incredible patience from Velocity, being able to re-engage on double fly comps that would usually punish those. And we've seen the exact same thing from Relentless, where when they run double fly, they do a pretty good job poking down, but just got ran down by the aggressiveness of Velocity. They answer with a brawl of their own, and they just outpace them there on Hanamura. They're doing an incredible job sticking to compositional mentality and playing it well. There's not a lot of positional mistakes. There's not a lot of mechanical issues that have costed them fights. It's just genuinely good, high-level Overwatch.
Definitely, I would largely agree with that. I think that's completely accurate. You know, we haven't seen either team really leak a ton of ults or do things, you know, that I think are way out of pocket with what they needed to win the fight, which often we see at this elo. But you know, we're talking about tier three. You know better than anyone, being a tier three player yourself. We're in that kind of mid diamond to low masters to mid masters range where we're starting to become aware of thinking of Overwatch as a game of resources, right? And what's the right amount of resources to use? Well, it's just enough. You know, not too much, not too few. So, you know, I think that with both teams aware of that, we start to create some of more of that upper level gameplay that you're talking about, where we're seeing a lot less kind of leaky play, and it's not just kind of wait till we have 6 ults and everyone, you know, press Q or press Y at the same time here. There's some strategy pretty clearly going into what we're executing here, and I somewhat feel like you know, I know you're a musical guy too, Ev. I kind of feel like I'm at the theater a little bit, you know, on the side of Relentless, especially with the, you know, anything you can do, we can do better. They pull out the May and the Brawl of their own, so you know, really interested to see exactly what continues. But to your point, exactly, they're executing the objectives they're trying to with each comp flawlessly, and you know, we'll see exactly which team develops some cracks in that first, because I think that's going to be the deciding factor here. But Relentless definitely has the momentum.
Yeah, certainly. And here, you know, there's a lot on the line, and this is an unexpected matchup that, like, we didn't even really depend to see. You know, Relentless and Velocity coming at the bottom of their bracket, really, on the second division in Tier 3, beating Saga Corruption and iDirty, who were both incredibly dominant teams in the other division of Tier 3, and have now met themselves in the division finals to meet, you know, their other division, people Atlas 512, which maybe I'm a little bit biased, but, you know, I'm excited to see what each of these teams can do. But finally, we get the match started and we're going into Rialto. And here, you know, I think it is just a game of chess. There's a lot of, you know, things in their toolkit that we've seen from both Velocity and Relentless. And I'm just curious, you know, what they're going to end up running out. What is something that you want to see that you think could be successful?
Well, you know, when we had some conversations with the team captains prior to the match, one of the things that Jay, the team captain of Velocity, told us is, hey, we kind of consider ourselves rush specialists. We play a lot of comfort picks. We love brawl. We love rush. So we haven't really seen a ton of that. We have a little bit, but I'd love to see a full-blown committed rush, especially on the defense. Play the patience that we've seen they can play, stage the engagement, wait for them to cross the bridge, and then bam, bring it to them. You know, take the fight right to the house. Show me that owl tier rush comp. Really kind of engage on what they would consider to be their specialty. You know, on the other side of the coin, what I'd really love to see out of Relentless, and again, we're gonna see it. We're gonna keep Scrub on that May. Scrub's loving the freeze life here, so we're gonna keep Scrub on the May. They're gonna stick to the double shield May, and we'll see how this goes.
Yes, certainly. Coming out of the gate, they're going to be looking for a very good Brawl mirror, and I think Scrub has decided to stay comfortable with this because it's been a good solution to Maderia's Doomfist. Great counter to Doomfist, not allowing him to get as much aggressive engage, has to play passive, and immediately coming out of the gate, Maderia is looking to try to reposition Relic, but he just drops back to the comfort of his team. Deadly Mouse and Maderia are taking this high ground though, and they want to set a pretty aggressive engage together, I imagine. But Relic has scouted them. He's playing pretty far back, putting some massive damage in at both of these choke points, protecting his team with that Sigma barrier, and they're just looking for an opportunity, and there it is. Runaway hitting nice shots on the ground. The legs being a little too slow to escape the shots from Runaway, and they're just going to have to continue to sit here.
Absolutely. I love where Matey's playing. Matey goes ahead and holds that corner, locks that corner on Rhyme with the Sigma, and just waits for his team, waits for Runaway to get the poke, waits for them to aggress past the angle that they want. That way Scrub can get the wall, really kind of just sitting and waiting for that engagement that they want, and it pays off for them. They go ahead and get the initial pick and force the team to back out. Looks like Runaway still focused back to the top right to try to chase down Madera, who's still in behind, but is in and out faster than anyone can do. And a huge pin coming out of Matey to take out his counterpart in Bog Fern with the freeze right behind it. This is not looking good for Velocity.
Yeah, Matey hits a shatter that only finds Bogfern, but hey, sometimes it's just about sending a message. He let him know that he's the one running this space and holding this corner so incredibly well. Again, another really clean fight. We didn't see a lot of deaths from either side of the coin, but they're still able to, you know, cut time off this clock. Velocity looking for an answer though as they pop that window. Lots of damage, but an immediate response is both support ults from Relentless. Matey falls extremely low, and he gets taken out immediately. Deadly Mouse holding this game hostage, and a nice fire strike snipe from Bogfern.
Absolutely, the classic, the double coalescence fight to start. You know, we love it. It was almost a coalescence to hold the corner, and then a coalescence to counter the coalescence, and Bogburn pushes all the way through, goes ahead and gets the pick, and that cements them what should be point one here if they can stop the re-engagement where they looks like, and it looks like it is going to be the case. We're going to commit the Blizzard, and we were just talking about leaky ults. That's the first one, Avid.
Yeah, they were trying to, you know, press to this point, finally get a touch, but they were not able to do it in time. Relentless gives up this first point while investing the Mei ultimate. That's definitely something they wish they could give back.
For sure. Looks like how we're going to move into the next engagement here. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Diva Bomb up. You see Madera flying across the way like Superman to get set up, and there's the Diva Bomb to start.
Yep, he engages with the deep bomb. Isn't able to find much, but some shields go down. Bogburn finds Scrub, and Matey finds his counterpart immediately. A nice flux from Relic, though, as well as a combo. We got the Flux High Noon coming out. Only finds one, but I think it's the one they needed.
Absolutely, that was the big one, right? The Baptiste. Make sure he ends it. You know, and I also think that they're playing great angles. They're really maximizing the double shield well. I'd love to see Runaway kind of hop up to the high ground. There's not much that can contest him other than forcing Deadly Mouse to come up there, but I would encourage Runaway to get up top. You know, maximize that kind of spam from a different angle. The only thing I can see right now is that Relentless is really focusing from one angle, and whereas Velocity has the Doom coming in from second, unless they find a way to handle that, might spell the end.
The shatter that comes out and immediately finds the opposing team's
Matey.
Moira, and wow, a 3K from Matey. Matey is wanting to find himself in that grand finals for a third time in Firewall. He's fighting for it.
He is for sure, but you can't give Matey all the credit there. There was a huge wall by Scrub that enabled him to just W mouse one right into that, get the swing. Yes, he had a great pin. Yes, he had a great shatter, but still, you know, definitely the wall enabled him to get that aggressive, and that's the beauty of the Mei Ryan.
Yeah, and 5 ultimates online. They choose to use the window, but isn't going to get a lot of value since they choose to just back around this corner. Materia gets a lot of damage from that Meteor Strike, and isn't able to get the beat drop out, is canceled, and wow, the Coalescence cleaning up with 3. Karikio.
Absolutely, you know, committed. You watched Madera there try to decide exactly where he could maximize value on the slam, licking his lips when he saw 5 people in the red circle. Ends up getting pinned out of it and tried to get out with a punch up, but was just too late, and the Coalescence ending the fight with 3.
Yeah, the initial engage of Scrub, though, lets the Blizzard fly in a crown, immediately falls. The Immortality is used, and they're not going to have the sustain they need. They're going to have to back up hard, but Relentless says no. They want to chase these kills. A nice wall from Scrub. Let's secure a few more before we go into the next fight.
Absolutely, and Relic with 5. Relic must have the stream on or something. Relic says, no, y'all are talking about Matey way too much. Where's my turn? Where's my action? Relic with a huge engagement here, and look at the economy now, Avid. Looks like on the side of Relentless is going to have 3 ults to go, including both tank ults, the High Noon, and Hina's sure to have that Coalescence on the back end. So they're really going to have to create an engagement here. Hopefully they don't use all of them. They want to keep at least 2 of them for the last fight, which should be just 2 fights away at this point.
An interesting situation. We've seen Materia go to the pharmacy, and a big Deadeye from Runaway finds 2, as well as the shatter for the cleanup. That was an incredibly fast fight with only 2 ultimates that they had to invest in. Ooh, some nice shots from Runaway finds Jay.
There's that finger wag. Runaway's the master of the no. Get back here. Go ahead and cleans up Jay. But yeah, they did manage to keep the coal. They did commit 3. You know, it'll be really interesting to see because like you said, the fight happened so quickly. Velocity didn't get to farm any ults for their own, so they have no fight. They're going to have a Coalescence. We're going to see some Coalescence action here, but Scrub might have the Blizzard. I would expect the Blizzard to put away this round.
Yeah, certainly. They're going to have that initial Coalescence engage. A big wall, though, comes down from Scrub, and they're going to have to jump off of this high ground. Deadly Mouse, though, isn't able to give it up just yet. The Reinhardt's choose to crawl on this objective. Deadly Mouse putting a lot of energy with the grab almost online. Is he going to let it fly? No, there's hands in his face. It'd be too deadly. Runaway finds ground, and the Graviton comes out. Are they able to look for much? And they do. They take down 3. Velocity. Finally looking for much, but hey, Matey doesn't give it up just yet. Finds 3, but pays for it with his life. Bogburn looking for a little bit much that he isn't able to see with that shatter.
Matey with the final punch on Ryan there to cap. A great job capping there by Velocity. Matey said, no, get off my Ryan. The May was trying to fight on boats, trying to get the freeze on the Ryan. You just watch the May get thrown out across the sea here as they're going to push forward all the way up to the next corner. They got to be careful of the scrub on the respawn. That May wall could prove devastating for them, as it already has a couple of times, but a huge cap by Velocity.
And certainly I really like this compositional switch, and why did I say that Materia is going to fall immediately? But they're going to have to push into some huge frontline damage. Ryan Zarya is meant to speed into your face and set pace quickly, and a Sigma can't do much about it once you push past that shield. Even though it's a 5v6, they are accruing a lot of percentage on this card, but as it gets to this choke point, Matey finally decides to set up. But a lot of Zarya damage taken to the back. The Coalescence does come out. That is a lot of sustain. Are we going to see an answer from Hina? Not yet. They don't need runs. Runaway is going to find Bogged Burn, and the Deadeye comes out, but isn't able to find much. Materia takes down Runaway. It's excellent work. Meteor Strike does come out. Isn't able to take down much, though. The beat and the freeze, though, on Materia shutting him down pretty steadily. Matey goes very, very deep into his own team. The Zarya cut out of position. Are they going to be able to finish? No. The Blossom comes out. Brown takes down Relic, and it's a brawl on this objective, Kobe. But it looks like Relentless. Right as I say that, Bogfern hits a massive shatter on 4, and they answer with 2 kills of their own. It is an incredibly scrappy fight on this point, and they're just grasping at straws.
Absolutely. It looks like they are going to go ahead and clean up here. They basically just have the Ryan to clean up, and they're going to go ahead and do it. Matey said, that's enough, that's enough. Swings the hammer of Nope right into the face of Bogfern. But yeah, I mean, that last fight certainly was insane. You watched the Reaper, you were just rowing ultimates for a second. You know, the Reaper hits powers up the ultimate, immediately presses Y. Lucio had the beat on the other side ready to go. Jay immediately beats, and out comes the Blossom, or out comes the Blizzard rather, from Scrub right away on the backside, which was only able to capture 1. Meanwhile, Matey screaming like a Viking in the backline, just holding right trigger in, picking up 4 with the hammer of Nope, as I said, getting those kills to confirm the fight and stop them just short of the full cap here on Rialto.
Yes, certainly. Blinding Lights was the theme song of that last fight, with every single ultimate we could possibly see on the board coming out, essentially just grasping at whatever they could to secure some kills on both sides of the coin. But finally, I'm curious what, changes might be made. Velocity, that is a pretty solid push on their part. Sure, they didn't full cap this objective, but hey, that is a pretty good progression here on Rialto. They choose to go with a more, high damage brawl comp. Now Crown going to be on the Junkrat, and Madeira going onto the McCree, unlike the Pharah and the Doomfist that we saw for most of the map.
I love this switch by Crown. I think Runaway has shown a propensity to not want to capture high grounds and kind of stay with team, and we have yet to see a Zarya out of either team, I believe, or we did see a Zarya last game, but never on the side of Relentless. The junk around corners, being able to absolutely spam through the rest of his team will make a huge difference here. I wouldn't put it past the junk to carry so hard on this first point, especially unless in particular Relentless makes an adjustment that that they're gonna have to claim some high grounds. But the junk is a great switch, and we'll see how it works out for him.
Yeah, Velocity is going to have to make a huge statement here. This corner is a playground for Junkrat players. As long as they're able to hold it, they should find a lot of success, but Matey says no, and begins to press the advantage, setting pace extremely well. He has to be careful, though. That's a lot of damage flying his way, and as that defense matrix begins to weigh down, and so does Deadly Mouse's health. Sitting at low, about to lose the mech, and it falls. Crown does take out Hina, though, and it begins. Matey does find the main support, though, on the side of Velocity, and gets a brawl on the objective. Crown does hit a nice trap, though, taking down Relic, but Relentless looking incredibly strong.
Absolutely, and they're gonna go ahead and roll through them. Matey is just absolutely. Matey, you gotta tell me your secret. He's the goat of committing these charges into the backline, or these Narnia charges, and not dying, and then you see him light up the kill feed with 2 and 3 pieces after the fact. So Matey just swinging away, but they almost gave him too much space on that front point to allow the Junkrat to really go to work.
and the wall there makes it real difficult to touch. And even though Mady isn't able to find anything, the wall separation is all they needed to secure this first point. I do like the move though from Velocity there. They want to sit and make sure that they cannot push past this. They're holding incredibly close. Ooh, a double deke headshot from Madeira takes down Runaway, the counterpart. Skeet shooting a little bit in favor of Madeira there, winning that Cowboy standoff. The wall does come out from Scrub though. Are they looking to press the advantage? It doesn't look like so. They're going to take a lot of damage from Crown, and Jade does take down Scrub, and again, they want to sit at this corner.
They do. Madeira huge with the Chris Kyle shooting to that top window. Like you said, the dink action really taking away Runaway. That's what it gets. Runaway tries to take the high ground, just like I said, automatically gets dinked by Madeira. So sorry, Runaway, that was definitely a capture trick. We see the high noon come out here right into the fight, and the Flux try to pick him up. We'll see how many he gets. Looks like the shield ends up blocking it.
Yeah, and the Blizzard is going to come out after. They're not able to find much off the back of that Sigma Flux, but they do find Bogfern. That could be the opening that they need, but Crown responds with a tire. Hina does fall. A shatter comes out from Mady, isn't able to put much on the ground here. Crown is continuing to clean so much damage and so much presence on this objective. They're having an incredible amount of difficulty breaking this corner. But right as I say that, Hina does pop the Coalescence. That's a lot of sustainability. Runaway isn't able to find much as they cower on the side, and the pit beckons for Scrub and takes a dip in the canal. Velocity doing a great hold in to clean up. Bogfern finds 3 and 2 with the Fire Strike.
Absolutely. My favorite part of that whole fight was the Deadly Mouse under the bridge like the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Not sure if you saw it, Evan, but all the way under, back over. I watched the panic. She almost didn't get up, but she did end up getting it back and re-engaged from the other side. Almost like Pop Goes the Weasel. Surprised them just as Bogfern gets the Fire Strike that does take down 2.
A very aggressive beat, and Mady takes down his counterpart yet again with a very aggressive charge. Deadly Mouse says no with the bomb and finds 2, both DPS, and another back kill. Deadly Mouse is a menace with this new patch. It takes down 4 now. Wow.
4. Deadly Mouse playing out of their minds tonight. You know, I think that's probably the 3rd mech kill for Deadly Mouse, and I've lost count of how many bomb kills, but it seems like every time they throw one, it's 2 or 3, Evan.
Yeah, and Deadly Mouse, they recently nerfed that remake animation, but you can't nerf her. And a big shatter, though, does find 4, and that's exactly what they needed. Runaway getting some nice kills, but Crown isn't able to give this up just yet. Finds Mady and Hina as he plays in this room, and it's definitely just a desperation attempt. He's waiting for his death, and Runaway finishes the job.
Yeah, really not a fan of moving into that room in general. Obviously kind of set himself up for a little bit of a stagger there. And then committing the tire to boot. Yes, he got 2, but the fight was 1. You have to wonder if Crown isn't kind of eyeing a switch. Looks like not. He's going to come back on the junk, just unfortunately got forced into that room. If I were on the side of Relentless, I might have even kind of forced that stagger a little bit harder. But regardless, it's all worked out for them. They're pushing the car at a steady rate.
Madeira hits some nice shots and takes down Runaway immediately. They're not going to have a lot of engagement value now. Tracer putting most of the pressure on the back line of Velocity, so it looks like they are going to give a lot of space. But right as I say that, they choose to move along this high ground. They don't want Crown and Madeira to be able to sit up here and pepper their team as they push this objective. They have to brawl in this tight corridor, though, and again, Junkrat is going to have a field day unless they're able to use this speed boost and push out well. They decide to sit, which is a very, very good move. Pushing into that Junkrat spam burns a lot of resources very, very quickly. They're going to have the window out, possibly looking for an opportunity there in that central window. And again, it's just a poke battle here. Again, another tire does pop and takes down 2. Hina and Mady fall as Crown, building another tire due to that longevity of that last fight, but immediately answered. Runaway kills both supports for Velocity. A little bit of a better find. It's incredibly even here as they scrap up a point, but if Runaway falls, it could mean the end. Deadly Mouse does lose the Diva mech, and I don't think they're going to have a response to Runaway. Runaway is having a field day against the front line as they can't do much against this Tracer, and as the front line of Relentless comes back, that's all they need to continue to accrue some card progress.
Absolutely, and you might even say Runaway is running away. I'm sorry, chat. You can take my caster card after this, but yeah. So that was absurd. They have no answer to Runaway. We're gonna get right back into action with a huge shatter. The window to shut down, but the Diva bomb out back gets none. Relentless having none of it goes ahead and takes out 3, and they're already back to cleanup action with Relic getting 2. Runaway yet again getting the junk, Scrub cleaning up the McCree, and we're gonna keep on rolling here, baby, just like Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, and hey, it's an incredibly even, push from what we saw from Velocities. They had about this much time to accrue this much progress. Crown is going to have that tire out, and we've seen 2Ks all over and over from him, so we can definitely see some value there. Karikio is going to have the Coalescence online, but a response we could see an aggressive beat engage from Nock. We've seen the work Matey has been able to do when his health pool increases. Both ultimates from Velocity are immediately popped, and I really like this move. They want to back aggressively, and Scrub finds the tire, but Runaway does fall immediately. Matey charges in, trying to take back that space they had to give up due to all those ults, but that Bob is doing work. Actually gets moved in deeper to the team because of that Junkrat mine, and it's doing even more work now. Bog Burn falls immediately. Materia does find Scrub, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Relentless backing out and re-engaging with excellent precision.
Oh! Madera answers the Tracer with the good old stun headshot, and that's the first time, honestly, the Tracer is giving Velocity all kinds of problems here on Relentless. You have to wonder if they haven't just found it after trying after a couple maps. They're gonna push through the window. We're gonna get right back into the engagement, but someone's gotta stop Runaway.
Matey looks for the shatter, but isn't able to find much. Bogburn is there. A very big Sigma ult, though, pushes people below half, and they find some great kills. Crown and Bogburn will fall. Materia isn't able to find much with that Death Blossom, and Relentless looking incredibly strong on this objective, trying to finish this map and even out the series.
Excellent work by Deadly Mouse there, identifying the Echo, automatically saying, oh, that's my job. Has to turn around to come back to point. It looks like it might just be too much damage to handle here, but the actual identification, this is going to be one of those fights that strings on after with the ball on point. It doesn't end up working. It's simply too much spam damage to take, and it looks like Relentless is going to take another map with a hard D.
Yeah, Relentless doing an incredible job here. Again, they decided to switch that brawl, say, hey, like you said it before, anything you can do, I can do better, and they have now evened out this series 2-2, winning this map on the also. And honestly, this is an incredible play from Deadly Mouse. We've seen some awesome off-tank play from her. So great kudos to that. But honestly, what I saw really was a mixture of, frontline differential. Matey does such a good job, setting presence, setting tempo, using charges that would usually seem very, very aggressive, but looking, to go right at the wall instead of, going deep into the enemy backline. And they're finding tons and tons of success off of this. Velocity needs an answer to the pace that Relentless's frontline is setting.
Yeah, they do, and I think that Velocity has made some of the correct switches. Madera in particular on the McCree, definitely doing some work on McCree. I like it better than the Doomfist in particular. Madera, especially if Relentless is going to continue, if Runaway is going to continue to try to play this Tracer, that Madera McCree is going to be going to be worth every penny of its pick, and that might end up being the case. But really, Relentless proving to be a very adaptable team here. They identified the Air Force wasn't working. They switched away from the Air Force. They moved into that brawl look. Scrub loving the May life, Runaway rotating through heroes, try a few different things, and because of that adaptability, have managed to even the series at 2-2. We got a game on our hands, Avid.
Yeah, certainly. And hey, again, they're just getting the price of admission here. Evening it out, it's been incredible. We saw just a huge, mentality switch from Relentless that have completely turned the series on its back. But one thing I am curious about is what we saw from the beginning of the series with, this double fly composition that Relentless had. We now move into our next control map. Something that we saw that Velocity had, an exceptional performance on, especially on Lijiang. Lijiang is a map that is, incredibly brawl heavy with a lot of, these choke points, lots of great corners to hold, lots of great Reinhardt differential. But yeah, going into a 2-2 series, we're going to go into a little bit of a break. Some incredibly exciting Overwatch is going to follow.
Absolutely. Okay.
Hello and welcome back, everybody. We have some incredibly exciting Overwatch, a 2-2 tied up series between Velocity and Relentless, fighting for that grand finals spot. And hey, so far, we've seen some awesome Overwatch, some incredible switches from Relentless that have led them to tie up this series after a 2-0 deficit. And Velocity, some incredible hero performances from Madeira and Deadly Mouse. Such an even matchup, so incredibly exciting, and an incredible chess match from each of these intelligent teams of Overwatch.
It has. It's really refreshing, to watch, especially console watch. This is the kind of game that I love, to especially encourage some of our PC counterparts to watch. I wish that they could watch this because, I think they kind of look down on us as console players some of the time. And if you watch the speed of these engagements, you watch the intelligence and decision making, you watch kind of the coachability and just the overall nature of the fights and how they're engaged. This does not feel. We were just talking about this off stream. I'll blow in the whole production team here. This does not feel like a console game. The engagements happen fast. The teams are patient. They're intelligent. They take the fights they want to take. They're making switches in real time. The hero pools are wide and diverse. This has really been a great game, and the record reflects that at 2-2. We were just talking off stream. At this point, we're effectively just about 2 hours into the cast. Normally we'd be kind of well beyond or almost done with the cast, and yet it feels like there's still miles for us left to go, and I'm enjoying every second of it, Evan.
Yeah, certainly, and I guess they got that Twitter news of console players being able to play an open division, and they're on that grind for it. I totally agree with you. They're engaging so incredibly well, aggressively, with, efficiency in their timing. Like, it has been some great Overwatch. If you were to, show this, the PC side of things, it wouldn't seem that different. Even with, some of the shots that we've seen, kudos to the camera crew watching, Madeira hit some incredible shots, where it looks like he's almost like locking on to people. It's amazing. And again, some incredible mechanical play from Runaway that we've seen on the Tracer. It's just a back and forth of each of these teams, not only mechanically, but just changing their strategies to best fit the situation, and they're finding a lot of success.
They are, and you mentioned Runaways. It's true. It's the same thing. I'm kind of left wondering at this point. What am I gonna see next? What hero's coming out next? What are you gonna pick at the hero select screen? Seems to me like they can kind of do it all. And then on the other side of the coin, you got Deadly Mouse, who's been on D.Va the whole time and is hard carrying for their team. Deadly Mouse just absolutely going in. I gotta be the Elim queen of the game for sure. Just absolutely proving that D.Va can be viable in any situation on any map, just absolutely going to work. So we got versatility versus comfort, and you're seeing both of them work out for their teams here, and it's anyone's game as we head into Lijiang Tower. Debatably one of the strongest control maps in the game if we're talking about Koth. We've seen some ball action in particular. This would be one of the best ball maps in the game. Be really interested to see if either team breaks one out for us.
Yeah, I'm curious if we'll get a little bit of a look, and I think you're totally right. It's a matter of Relentless. Are they going to spin the wheel and come out with something that we haven't seen before? But it looks like, as we see at the beginning of these switches, it's not something, totally irregular. We do get to see Raven come in, though, for Relic, running these Zarya Reinhardt, that incredibly aggressive pace, and nope, I ate my words in real time. Why not run the D.Va? She's so overtuned anyway. They're going to have a Reinhardt D.Va tune, and we're going to have, the Sim strat. Possibly looking for a little bit of the Pharah as well. A very interesting comp.
It is, and we're back to round one here with Madeira back to the Doom and Scrub back to the Pharah.
Yeah, and immediately, though, Relentless is going to beat them to the objective, but great pace being set. Madeira does take out the Symmetra immediately and chooses to find more, and a double uppercut takes down the heals and the entire backline. Madeira finding Thor and setting the base like, oh, you're going to switch to Mei and McCree to counter my Doom?
No, don't do it.
Where's that swap now?
Oh. I thought Madeira was going to go for the Pharah there. I was like, don't do it. You've done enough. You've proven enough. You don't need the fifth one, and you want that. Look at the hunger. But yeah, absolutely massive. Doom with the 4-piece, the double uppercut kill on point. As you see Runaway go, all right, fine, Air Force it is. You're back to Doom. We're back to taking the skies.
Going for the mech kill, but isn't able to find much. And again, Madeira, great defense major trying to protect that DPS, and a huge barrage takes down 2. And Manny taking out his counterpart as well, and they're going to begin rolling. That double fly, it's so much damage. If that initial engage doesn't work, you're going to get yourself caught out.
Absolutely, it's scrubbed with 5 there. 2 from the barrage, 3 from the tertiary damage kills after the fact. Scrub again, anything you can do, Madeira, I can do better. Goes ahead and says, you got 4, I'll go ahead and get 5 here on Farah as the screen saw me with 5 in the camera.
Massive shatter finds 4 with a combo with the Diva Bomb, and they wipe them immediately. An impressive combo from Relentless again, showing that incredible frontline dominance that we have seen this entire series. Well done.
Oh, it's going to be one of those games, Evan. I feel it. You feel it. The energy is insane. The back and forth, the ult trades, and we're going to go ahead and get another engagement right on its heels here with a Coalescence to open things up. And a shatter from Bogburn takes out the Baptiste. Crown picks off the Echo.
Right, and immediately after an incredibly clean engage from we saw, you know, they turned it on its head. Even just after a Coalescence and a Shatter, they were able to clean that fight so well. But hey, it could be a different engage, because I wouldn't be surprised if Scrub's able to build another barrage off of this situation. Both support ults are online for Relentless, so they're going to be looking for an aggressive pace with that B. A very initial engage and looking to possibly go for a setup. They go to the top of the tower. He chooses, he scouts, and he's looking, but isn't able to find what he is looking for. Hina and Nox still do have both the supports online, though. When are they going to pop? Window does come out. Are they able to look for anything? A great Diva Bomb, looking for whatever they can find, and Crown takes down both DPS with that Blossom. The Immortality goes down as well, and Velocity, a great engage off of that Blossom as well as the Diva Bomb. It seems to be too much to handle.
Absolutely, and Crown cleans up the Baptiste. Madeira gets 2 as well. I loved what we saw from Madeira there. Said, you know what, we're going to stage way up top. Oh, didn't have the engagement he wanted. Go ahead and backed out, got right to point with his team. Said, you know what, we'll live to try this again another day. Didn't have what they wanted, but like you said, there's Scrub with that barrage, and Runaway knows Madeira is staged, goes to find the fight, and starts this in a 5v6.
Yeah, Madeira immediately gets scouted by Runaway, and Runaway is searching for this Diva mech desperately, but that's so much healing that the Coalescence provide. Crown does take down Mady and the Pharah right immediately after, but it doesn't matter much. They still have someone online because of that Echo copy, but is immediately burnt through. Runaway falls extremely low, and Madeira answers with Hina being taken out. The main heals now no longer present for Relentless, and again, they're falling to that double fly that we saw at the beginning of the series. They cannot handle Velocity's incredible brawl.
It's true. Can Crown be stopped? Crown killing 4 again there. Scrub gets back in, tries to run the barrage, but that's not going to be enough. Velocity absolutely, and Crown with the Blossom BM at the end did need it to secure the point. Velocity's going to go ahead and take point 1 here, but what a massive game back and forth. And Madeira, I think, must have heard me say something about in the last map about how I prefer the McCree play. All right, I see you, Madeira. The Doom's pretty good too. Go ahead and get 4 off the bat and continue to just wreak havoc into their lines. Again, here we go with the same rotation. I feel like history repeats itself, Avid. We see Scrub switch to May, because okay, we're gonna do something about this Reaper and this Doom. Runaway now pulling out the Junkrat, gonna put some damage forward. We're back into the brawl comps.
Yep, they're going to be going into this hallway in this initial engage. I'd be surprised if they didn't. There's going to be so much coming out. Crown and Madeira are going to try to take as much space as possible so that Runaway isn't able to spam them out of these tight corridors. But whoever sets the pace first here should have a good amount of success. And they finally begin that engine. Madeira immediately punches in as they get pushed back into their own corridor, and Bogburn finds Mady. Again, setting that pace so well, proving that, hey, it isn't an MTD, I haven't heard my name enough. Crown chases immediately, 4 kills popping up on the kill feed for Velocity, and that is a immediate wipe.
Absolutely. Again, we talk about all the time, right? The more aggressive team wins because they dictate the engagement. That's exactly what Velocity just did. They said, yep, they're on a brawl comp too. Don't care. We're going right to the house. Look where they ended up fighting, Evan. They ended up fighting all the way in their corridor, right on their rover. And I mean, fighting all the way back there. They somehow managed to take the first fight. And Madeira gets a fist on Scrubs and hopefully significantly imbalanced second fight. His Deadly Mouse finds it with a Shatter to follow up. That's going to be the end of the second fight just as fast as it starts. Deadly Mouse on 3. A massive Shatter and a massive punch to start it. We're going to go ahead and stagger the baby Diva there. Oh, poor Raven takes the Nigerian fist to stop the engagement. This is really going to be, this is really shaping up to be a Velocity game. Something has been awakened in them.
Yeah, certainly. And Madeira, again, doing great to engage here. We have the Diva Bomb online. Tire does get popped, though, and takes out Madeira, who happened to be on the flank, gets caught out. When is the Diva Bomb going to fly? There it goes. It's going to kite a lot of aggression. Are they able to find much? Nothing gets found, though. The Coalescence is going to keep Bogged Fern up, but with no shield, it becomes prey to Scrub's Reaper. Again, still being put up though. Kudos to the support line for Velocity. Finally, there is a little bit of a Moira difference though, as Hina does take out Caribio and Scrub takes out Crown. They choose that, hey, we can run this brawl due. We're here to send a message. Materia does not find much of the Meteor Strike, usually just to get to point faster at all. The Shatter does get canceled because of the uppercut into the air. Not exactly what Matey was looking for. And again, they continue to stall this point out, securing lots of percentage off just these staggered respawns.
Oh no, I was so worried that I thought Crown was going to go for the Blossom, but absolutely, they're still staggering. Baby Diva's still on point, but wait, here comes Matey. Here comes Fern back to point, and Madeira back to point again. Are they going to wipe them? They're trying to stall all the way to 99 here, and it looks like they might. They're finally going to clean up Caliper and get the 89% hold, but they got an even 25% there off the extra stagger. But, you know, looking at it again, here comes Relentless with some ult advantage. They got 4 ults, including both DPS and a bomb, so looking for them to really maintain control for a little while.
Yep, the tire gets popped after the initial engage, looking for what he can find, but it does get cut out. Crown into the back line, does take out the Lucio, though. A nice defensive beat from Caliber, shutting down the Blossom from Scrub. Diva Bomb comes out, not able to find much. Fern taking down the Baby Diva, he pays the price, and Deadly Mouse finding the front line. Crown is being a menace in the back line right now. Can they win the Reaper duel with a little bit of help from Bogged Fern? Sure he can. Caliber takes out Hina, and they're going to be flipping this point almost immediately. It's going to be an extremely rushed touch.
Absolutely. Crown, don't do it to him. Crown takes the fight with a Junkrat on 21 health, and it looks like Matey on the ball to try to touch to get overtime. Does get the overtime touch. It's going to be back in, but they're going to have both, Velocity going to have both tank ults here to set. We get the ball scattered into the beat. We're going to pin all the way to the back line on Fern, for the Coalescence. The bomb might do it. The Bumora gets pinned back. The Doomfist will kill Scrub with the bomb, also taking out the Diva Max. Runaway back on the Tracer to fight for some time. It might not be enough.
And Velocity, they're taking advantage of this momentum switch. They didn't like 2 maps up in a row, so they're, hey, we're going to run our bread and butter, and we're going to run it better than you. Taking this map 2-0, now making them the advantage in this series, a 3-2. Velocity with a very, very nice win and an extremely important win. When you get into these, tied situations, especially after, you go through your map cycle, right? We had, Control, Hybrid, we had your 2 CP map, we had your Escort. It grows into an even field, and now you go into, you can only play Control, you can only play Hybrid, you can only play Escort. So here, they need to send a message, and boy, did they do that.
Absolutely, and I mean, 2 pretty decisive wins too coming out of Velocity. That to me, Avid, seemed to be like the most not close map of the series, maybe bar the first map, but they showed up in that little intermission we had. I don't know what happened. They must have had Morgan Freeman in there to give him a pep talk or something, because they came out of the gate ready to fight, and they took the fight right to Relentless. And I think that's the secret. I think Velocity hopefully learned from that, and they realized if they want to go ahead and make this a 4-2 series, they have to maintain that aggression, walk right into Relentless. We don't care what you're running. This is what we're playing, and this is how we're going to fight.
Again, it's just a matter of pressure. It's a repeat from what we saw before Relentless made that initial change into this Brawl mirror, which I really like the swap that they're bringing in. They take Raven out and put Relic back in, that wild card off tank that was doing so much for them when they did take those 2 maps in this series. So what I'm seeing here is they revolved back down to that double fly, and that doesn't put enough pressure really on the front line, at least from what we saw in the first map, where Velocity took advantage of it and just continued to be aggressive. But even after that, I think you're right. They must have had a celebrity pep talk in that party of theirs, because even after meeting, this super frontline brawly comp with the Mei, with the Junkrat coming out, they just continue to say, hey, we're going to determine the engagement of these fights. Materia would always give the initial punch in, always get that initial kill, and it was just an incredible display of what Brawl is supposed to be like. Pure aggression.
Absolutely. And I mean, we talk a lot about counters, right? So we want to play heroes that counter the other teams and all these rotations of heroes to counter. That's not what's happening. They're not rotating heroes necessarily to counter. Sometimes they are, especially on heroes like Doom or Pharah, but it seems to me as they're rotating heroes to perform different strats. Each team has a subset of strategies that they want to execute, whether that's Rush, whether that's Brawl, whether that seems to be, the Air Force, whatever it is, whether it's a Tracer in your backline, they have a certain strategy they want to execute. Both teams making switches almost agnostic of the other team, and honestly, I think Velocity's found the secret. I said that before. I think this is actually the X marks the spot on the treasure map, right? Which is we don't care about what you're running. We're going to play what we want to play. You know, we're going to stick to our bread and butter. We are going to continue to just walk through you. Jay's back in that huddle as the captain. Told me earlier, we play comfort picks. We don't care about other teams. We don't care about strats. We try to just make sure we maximize our comfort. I think that's exactly what we saw with Madara going back to Doom, and you see how it works out for them. So I really think that's the secret. I think Velocity needs to do the exact same thing again heading into this, what could be the final map of our series here. And if they do that and they're able to take it to the house and maintain that level of aggression and continue to dictate engagements and take the fights they want to fight, we could be looking at our last map here.
Yeah, and it's incredibly interesting. Maduria had an incredible performance on Lijiang. But when we saw Maduria get shut down, it was usually when Scrub and Runaway, had the space to do so. On these, really heavy sight-lined, escort maps that, especially like Rialto, that we saw them have so much success, it was because, it's pretty difficult for a Doomfist, especially when they're caught out in open space. Runaway switching to the Kree, Scrub switching to the Mei, things like that. That's what shuts down the Doomfist in open space. But when you're playing in tight corridors like Lijiang has, especially Control Center, that second map that we saw, it becomes so incredibly difficult to, take pace with such aggressive DPS.
Absolutely, and we're getting word here that the next map is going to be Eichenwald, which actually is going to be a really, really interesting hybrid map as we see it flip on the screen here. Moving into Eichenwald, there's a whole lot of possibility. I think of Madara as having a ton of engagement points, in particular in streets and point 2 off the castle on Doomfist. I think of Madara being able to break back out the McCree. We all know how powerful McCree is, specifically on high ground. There's a lot of point 1 rush engages, but again, a lot of high ground cover too if they want to come out on the double flyer comp. So we'll see exactly what we're going to run here. I think Eichenwald is ironically a map that every comp that we've seen these teams play, primarily the Air Force and the Rush, could both be served a healthy dose of advantage to if they're captured correctly. So be really interesting to see what's happening. In particular, Scrub seems to be the DPS on Relentless that's reacting to whatever Madara plays. We see Madara on Doom, Scrub's on Mei. We see Madara come out on McCree, Scrub's like, okay, I'm back to something that maybe isn't going to brawl, that's less vulnerable to stun. We see no McCree, all of a sudden Runaway is going to flip over to the Tracer, but Scrub's back to the Pharah if that happens. So we'd be really interested to see exactly kind of what Scrub comes out on to start this map. I think that's kind of indicative into what the mindset is, what they're thinking, what exactly they view as their win condition. And then a Velocity can kind of key in on that and make the requisite switches and maintain the aggression. We'll see how it goes. But Eichenwald, a map that favors really neither team, but really favors synergies, and we'll see who's able to pull it off better.
Yeah, certainly. I love Eichenwald as a map, especially like whether it's from a coaching and an analyst perspective, because every single point of Eichenwald is different. It favors different compositions. You have that third point that's super close corridor, super brawl heavy. Then you have the second point where usually you see like high mobility comps like dive and double fly find a lot of success, but also offers a lot of sightlines to hit scam. And the first point is a wonderful, beautiful bowed up competition of both, where you can have, corners that can hold for a lot of brawls to take advantage of, but you also have lots of deep sightlines, for great hit scan play and great cover for, these aerial characters that Relentless is so comfortable with. So it's going to be a very beautiful display of how each of these teams are going to adapt to each of these, what play style they choose to put pressure on their opponents with. And getting a little bit of the first look at these comps, especially, on the attacking side, what do we see?
We're going to see Scrub automatically. We said we're going to key in on Scrub. Well, Scrub's on the Pharah. On the other side, conversely, we see Crown on the Soldier. So it seems to me like they almost seem to know on the defense that they're expectancy in Air Force. They're gonna bring out the Soldier to enable some of that constant damage skyward to enable Madara to stay on the Doom. They love Madara's Doom, and if he can continue to come off the heels of that last performance to stay on it, then that's exactly what we're gonna see. Really interested to see here. Something Jay had told us, Avid, if you recall, is that they do, quote, have some tricks and some aces up their sleeve if they need to pull it out. Being one map away from victory, we'll see if they do that.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see how locking the legs benefits Velocity here. Opting for that soldier, which is more, poke damage than what McCree would be. More high burst, more able to handle the pharmacy. But XBT3, they're able to make it work. Mady takes this right corner immediately. They don't want to have that sightline advantage, taking a lot of poke. And they can begin to push them into this right corner in a very exceptional way. He falls extremely low though, and Bogfern with one swipe takes him out. They begin to press the advantage, pushing them all the way back to the spawn. That's the only kill they needed to finally cut down a bit of this time.
Oh, don't let the Sigma out. Go, Fern, go. Get in, kill the Sigma. Yeah, absolutely. Mady just got just a little overzealous there, I think. Committed, ended up getting knocked around a little bit, got out of position, and then, was Bogfern able to confirm the kill and then roll to the rest of the team. They did a good job of pushing the aggression, but on the same side, Relentless did a good job of backing up, and Scrub finds Moira in the pocket to start. Madeira answers with a pick of his own onto Mady. It's 5v5.
Yeah, an incredibly massive pick, and after the main tank does fall, Relic and Runaway do get shattered though, but no kills being able to secure from either side. Scrub fall incredibly low and had to back out after some nice shots from Crown, and they begin to stabilize. Nope, Scrub wants to press this advantage. Crown gets caught out and the damage is just too much to handle. Madeira, being the fair counter, finds the mercy, but the barrage is there. Bogfern finds lots of rockets in the backs and takes down Caliber while they're at it. Moderna does set up though for the meteor strike, but isn't able to find much here. Not looking for the setup that they're wanting. And they just begin to devolve on point here. The Diva Bomb does come out of Deadly Mouse, pays for it with their life, and not much value found there. They're going to have to push to the advantage, but hey, 2 kills are immediately answered though for Velocity as Crown takes out that hit scan counterpart. The ball's on point more. Relic does find Caliber. Mady has the Shatter online, hopefully looking to just finish this off. But it doesn't look like he even needs it. Scrub taking over this guy is too much damage to handle.
Absolutely, and they're going to go ahead and clean up the Diva here. Deadly Mouse doing a great job, but it's just not going to be enough. They kind of juked us there. We thought the fight was over. They did go for the recontest, but someone do something about my man Scrub just going nuts. Like you said, taking over the skies is the most appropriate way to say it. Just absolutely losing it. Crown is only one person able to do what they can into the Pharah, but it just hasn't proven enough with that pocket. Deadly Mouse is going to have to start getting real conscious of that Pharah, and it looks like Scrub takes out the baby Diva yet again. We're going to see the visor. Scrub's going to retreat indoors to the visor open, isn't able to get there in time. Crown kills both the pharmacy with the visor back before being taken down by Relic. We still have an engagement, but that's the kind of thing they can't have to use an ult to be able to stop the pharmacy every time. Unless they find a permanent answer to Scrub, this is going to keep rolling.
Yeah, and even after committing that pharmacy, it isn't enough for them to, brawl in this cart and kick them off. They begin to secure, more and more progress here with 4 ultimates online at that. We're going to be looking for a Scrub barrage, and no defense matrix from Deadly Mouse allows them to find both supports. Even after the pharmacy falls, though, no heals is a detrimental position to be in. Relentless decides to kick them off this high ground, though, as they opt to go up the stairs. The Shatter does come out, does find 2, and they're going to be able to clean them up pretty quickly, not having any healing for support. And they're going to take this high ground, and I think this is going to end up being, a fight win. They're going to continue to secure some card progress here.
It is. They're rolling, and they're winning fights at a great pace in the sense that they seem to always be generating at least 1 or 2 staggers per fight. Like that right there gets the Diva Runaway, knocks her out. She's going to go back and get a full set of spawn almost a full 10 seconds after the rest of the team goes down. So yet again, they're generating bullets. Oh my, and Caliber falls into the Mady pin. Mady with the crazy pin gets a fire strike on the unlooking Crown. Just the hits keep on rolling as Relentless just piling onto Velocity here.
Yeah, Relentless has 4 minutes going into this third point. But hey, at least this is the point that does favor Velocity's playstyle. They like that really close, super pure brawl environment. This is exactly what this third point provides. With a few ultimates online, they're going to be looking to engage with this coalescence. Here it comes. Rico, lots of sustainability. Crown almost loses his head. And Madeira, being the fair counter they need, takes down Scrub. He pays for it with his life. Runaway hitting some nice shots with his Peacekeeper. And Relentless gets backed away into this right corridor, but incredibly intelligent move. They don't want to cost too much, and they re-engage with speed and a nice Deadeye. Are they able to find anything? It looks like Mady charges in and finds Caliber. Madeira, though, takes out Mady right at the counter. Diva Bomb doesn't find much, and Scrub takes down Bogfern. It's the Madeira show, though, as he now cleans up 4 in this fight. They just have to put some bodies on the payload.
They do, but they're not done. They're still out there, still fighting. As we see the Sigma still firing away. Relic still firing. Madera goes back in, goes up, gets another one. Ground this time, finding the Pharah. Madera says, "Stay out. This is my point. Get out of here." You know, Madera. It's funny. Not the Pharah counter they knew they wanted, but the Pharah counter they needed for sure. And like you said at the beginning, point 3 really favoring the heavy brawl. Well, here you go. Seeing Madera launch himself from high grounds, get 2 and 3 kills, and get out right after the fight's already been won.
Great defense matrix to shut down Scrub, and a big shatter finds 5. But hey, Bogsburn isn't ready to give it up yet with a counter shatter of his own and some kills thanks to some very nice DPS play. The shatter isn't gonna mean much.
It's not gonna mean much. I don't know if you call what just happened there too. Deadly Mouse again cleaning up after the rest of her team, but Deadly Mouse, whenever Madera goes in, we watch Madera come in, we see Deadly Mouse come crashing in behind him. That is the follow-up a Doomfist needs. Madera is very good about getting in and getting out and maintaining a cooldown to get out, but with the follow-up he has, it just enables him to perform at an even higher level, and it's making all the difference on point 3.
Yeah, certainly. They begin to brawl in this tight corridor. We have both Coalescence being popped and a bomb from Deadly Mouse. Could it be much? Doesn't find what they're looking for. Beatty immediately aggresses, charging Bogsburn, and he does get taken out. Madera, a nice meteor strike on this Brig, and takes down one of the DPS. The DPS from Velocity performing so exceptionally well, even after Madera falls in that close corridor, he did the work that he needed to. It's all right. Go to spawn, take a rest.
I love it, yeah. Scrub switching to the Reaper. Okay, Scrub throwing the hands in the air. Just absolutely crying, "Uncle, I can't fight this Doomfist anymore. Let me go to Reaper. If he gets close to me, I'm going to knock his head off." Scrub rotating the Reaper, I think, is going to be a much stronger pick, especially. But we see Madera in the back, rotating to that Bastion. We get the High Noon and the Sigil combo out right away. The Sigil doesn't find anything, and it looks like the High Noon's going to get stuffed away, too. Relentless with 2 ults with negative value. The Bastion's going to start mowing.
Beatty hits 5 and takes down Bogsburn, but they don't underestimate the Madera Bastion. Finding Scrub, Runaway takes down his counterpart. Crown is out of the picture, and they now have to brawl on this point. It doesn't matter how much damage Madera can do if they don't get bodies on the objective, and they do. Both support ults get popped. Beatty, with an incredibly aggressive charge, gets caught out. You're not going to have to fight a Bastion in close quarters like that. Bogsburn's going to clean up with a nice 3K on the shatter.
For sure. Madera lives through it, turns and runs, goes, "Okay, that was close." Grabs the high ground, gets in the turret, tries to melt, but the fight's already been won at that point. So we're going to see Madera set up here. We'll see. It's interesting to see if their Bogsburn's going to continue to play this front corner here, or if they're going to rotate back to devote resources to Bastion. I personally like playing the corner, let Bastion do his own thing, because they have to get the cart. There's 5 seconds left to have it. Let the Bastion go nuts. They're going to have no shield to get in.
Yeah, and with Diva Bomb and Bastion pressure, it's going to be exceptionally difficult. A nice Diva Bomb placement does take out the Moira. Maybe falls as well. Relic does have the Sigma Flux, though. Is he able to make much of it with 3 of his team members down? Maybe. Runaway takes down Crown, but I don't think it's going to be enough. They don't expect the massive Bastion damage in the back line, and it proves successful.
Absolutely, and you hear the Bastion singing his song in the background, knowing they have it locked up. Ganymede chirping away back there, but absolutely, the Sig 9 was huge. That bomb by Deadly Mouse took out not just the Moira, but a coalescing Moira. A coalescence that could have been the end of it, that could have had the range and could have had the vision obstruction to get into the Bastion's face to force Madera to reposition on Bastion. The bomb clears it out, which allows the Bastion to just reign supreme, having to play the angles they can't play linear against the Bastion, forces the engagement they want, and they get the hold. Move into the attack phase here. This could be it. All they got to do is walk it to the end.
Yeah, that's an exceptional performance. And hey, we did kind of call it here in the casting booth, Kobe. That was one point of Eichenwald that is so successful for Velocity's playstyle. They love that tight-knit brawl where they aren't able to have much space to work. And they took advantage of it, having an incredible performance. But yeah, a bit of a look from each side. On the defense, we have, again, that Orisa-Rein combo we saw on the defense from Hanamura from Relentless. The runaway Torbjorn and Scrub on the Kree, and then Baptiste and a Moira.
We see you coming back out. The Torb and Chet. Watch the hammer. Here we go. But on the other side, take a look at what Velocity is going to bring out. Velocity going to show the Pharmacy. So we're going to see the Pharmacy in a little bit of a juxtaposition. We haven't seen this yet from Velocity. We'll see how this goes. Madera proving super versatile, able to rotate through heroes, and Runaway bringing out the Torb. This is going to be an interesting juxtapose from what we've seen so far.
Yeah, Jay foreshadowed all these aces up their sleeve that they're able to show some secrets, some little bit of tricks, and they're finally you're going to get to see some. This pharmacy is definitely something they did not expect, as they immediately give this corner for free. They have to. It's so much damage that Madeira is able to push down with this damage boost. But luckily, you got 2 barriers to shield your team from it, so Madeira is going to have to play pretty passive to avoid Scrub's nice shots. Hina does take down Crown, but they begin to aggress. The front line from Velocity being too much to handle. As they get pushed into this corridor, it's a playground for a pharmacy as they just continue to eat damage.
Absolutely, and there's 3 for the pharmacy. Madeira getting the turret to end it. That's 4 for Madeira, but absolutely, you know, Deadly Mouse, such a talented diva, making sure to always be on the correct target. She seems to always be exactly where she needs to be, and in this case, with Scrub rotating to the Ash to try to handle the pharmacy, what this needs to be is Deadly Mouse needs to be keyed in on those hit scans. So should Crown. If they can clear the way for Scrub to take out Scrub, to clear the way for Madeira to stay absolutely uncontested in the skies, it's going to be all the difference.
Yeah, compositionally, the only hope that Relentless has here is they have to be able to shut down this pharmacy. If they allow this Pharah to have open space with Scrub falls at the initial here, it is incredibly dangerous. He does go in though, the Mercy falls low and he does get found. We have the barrage online and no, it's a cleanup crew, but doesn't find much. Hina hits some nice shots, but I think the damage is done. As they meet them on this bridge here, it's too much front line to handle. Even with the pharmacy falling, they continue to press their advantage, but one thing we aren't noticing is they didn't accrue a lot of card progress during the fight. They push up with sticks, but that card is still back at the game.
Yeah, they'll go back and grab some card process here, but the barrage was huge. It didn't actually confirm the kills itself. Wasn't a flashy play of the gameplay. However, it did do a ton of damage to the whole team, which allowed Bogfern and the rest of the team to get in there, guns ablazing, and clean up those kills, including having Matey jump off on the Orisa. And now they still have 4 ults moving into the engagement for a second point here. So we'll see if we can't get a bomb shatter combo chased down by a Coalescence. But on the other side, we're going to see 4 ults as well, so this is going to be one hell of a back and forth.
Yeah, but very sneaky Pharah chooses to play back, so if they decide to look at Cart, the Pharah is going to be right in your back line, and a huge bomb takes out the damage boosted Ash. The Pharah is going to have room to work, but hey, it's answered immediately with a shatter. An incredible display. Deadly Mouse having the game of their life.
Deadly Mouse, a huge bomb to open it up. And then there you go, there's Madeira right into the back. The second that there's some kind of a disadvantage, it's over with the pharmacy behind. Look they used 1 ult Avid, they retained 3. Moving into the next fight, they still have the Barrage, they still have the Valkyrie, they have the other support out. Crown creeping up on that Blossom. Relentless is gonna have to figure out something. And a big shatter to start, only gets Deadly Mouse. We'll see if they're able to demech her. Deadly Mouse can rotate back to her team.
Yeah, most support ults do get pawned from Velocity though, so they don't find a lot. Only finding the Diva mech, they probably want to press this advantage. Maybe setting up Madeira for a nice barrage. And oh, they take down Scrub. That's exactly the space that Madeira needs, but a nice hook from Relic takes him out of the sky. Both DPS and the Mercy are down from Relentless though, so not exactly a good situation to be caught in. And they're going into last fight territory. Scrub is switching to the Bastion though. But hey, Matey doing an incredible job here trying to take out as much as they possibly can. Hina takes out Madeira, and those are some nice kills. A little bit of a questionable Blossom, as it could have just taken out with some primary fires, but hey, whatever you can do to secure this fight. Relic does find Karikyo though, and they're going to have some respawn advantage.
That reminds me of a huge respawn advantage. He decides to go for the Blossom, thinking that it's going to go ahead and end the game if he can take out the Bastion. It wasn't the case. Back in the front, his team was still fighting. Crown dipping out and going to kill the Bastion out front. The rest of his team lost the fight behind him. I think the primary fire out would have been better, would have saved the Blossom. By using that, maybe he did it because if you see now in the kill feed, we have the Junkrat. So looking to spam this tiny kill box in the 3rd point here, but we got some ult on the side of Relentless here waiting to come out, including a pulse bomb and a window.
The barrage comes out. Are they able to find much? No. Runaway hits a nice stick on Madeira, and so does the bomb. Bomb flies. And wow, kills on both sides. Bogfern does find the Mercy though, but doesn't have much resources to work with after Matey melts his shield with that whole hog. Scrub takes down Karikyo, but Caliber is still alive, doing any healing he can to keep his team alive, but isn't going to be much. Bogfern, after his last dying breath, does find 2 though, and Scrub responds with 2 of his own.
And another great hold by Relentless there. And they end up holding the point. They switch to the Roadhog for sustainability. Scrub on the high ground with the High Noon for next fight. But if you look at Velocity, they still have 3 minutes on the clock, Evan. And they have 2 meters to push it. Should be closer to 7 or 8 meters by the time they re-engage here. But what I would be doing if I were them, I would make this a dry push. Push him with nothing, commit nothing, see if you can't get them to commit everything. Then the next fight, roll back through, drop 5 ults, win the game, move on to the grand finals.
Yep, they got that Deadeye popping though, so they're going to have to cower in this space. I think this is going to do nothing but buy time though, as they do respond very well. It's a nice use of the speed boost. They want to push in though. They want to, have this brawl with Crown's extra damage that they provide. Bogfern does have the Shatter on the line though, and he's going to be looking for something big as he brawls in this corner with Relic. Nothing much here, but Bogfern doesn't have much shield to go with, so he's going to have to be extremely careful. Materia hits some nice shots on the runaway. That may have been the kill that they need with the Shatter online. Does he pop it? He does. He takes down Matey, but a counter Shatter comes out and turns Bogfern on the ground. But Crown takes round 2. Runaway being the only person alive. Can they even get a touch? They do, and that's it. Velocity Nitro taking the series. 4-2. It's securing them fight.
What a final fight. They did exactly what we thought. They poked, they maintained, they got the Shatter, they farmed the tire, they had the bomb. Sure enough, Madeira finds the pick on the Tracer for the icing on the cake. Right, almost immediately we see with the huge Bogfern Shatter off the left killing, and there's the Crown tire to finish the fight. Kills the Baptiste and the McCree with a Diva bomb in behind to end the series or end the game and end the series, with Velocity Nitro X winning the series 4-2 and advancing to the Tier 3 Grand Finals.
Yeah, absolutely, and an incredible display. And one thing I want to note, the most impressive thing about Velocity Nitro, kudos to whoever runs this team as a captain. Their team building strategy wasn't, your traditional, looking for team post, going in and pulling people. What they actually did was, as a team, they queued into comp, and if they found talented players, they would literally just offer them a scrim. Hey, this is what we do. We do organized competitive Overwatch. Would you like to, come in? Would you like to try out for this team? And hey, they built a team of incredibly powerful players. Deadly Mouse, Bogfern, Crown, Materia. We saw heroic moments from every single member of Velocity on top of incredibly consistent play. And hey, I don't know about you, but that is a recipe for success. And the only thing that we got to do now is just pick off who had the most impact in this round.
Oh, yeah, see, that's one of those, that's the hard question, right, is how do we pick MVPs from that? But, I love that. I love that, to your point. They play their comfort heroes, they recruit from comp, and like I mentioned at the very beginning of this cast, no one on the Velocity team has ever played in a competitive Overwatch setting before. This is the first time any of them have ever been involved in any kind of scrim or tournament setting or CGL League or Firewall League or BA or any of the leagues that exist on console. This is their first taste of the console competitive Overwatch scene, and now they find themselves in the grand finals of a Tier 3 game. Extremely impressive, for sure.
Yeah, but hey, all we got to do now is we just got to pick out some key players, which honestly, this is the most difficult job we've had all game.
I tried to dodge it. You brought me back down to earth.
Hey, it's all right.
To go first.
Yeah, hey, I'll take it. Honestly, I'll start with Relentless here because we saw, even though Velocity ended up taking this series, we had an incredible display from Relentless, in the middle. Taking those 2 maps, we saw an incredible performance, and it's incredibly difficult for me personally because what defined a lot of the success, even though we saw a lot of key switches from the DPS from Relentless, seeing Scrub and Runaway answer to the Doomfist exceptionally well, I think what ultimately won them those 2 maps was the outpacing that their frontline was doing. And that goes to the main tank, Matey. The reason I go for Matey is because not only was he hitting fat shatters securing his team fight, but you can tell that he was the one communicating. He was the one forcing Velocity into corners that allowed their double fly to be successful when it was. Matey was setting the pace so exceptionally well that when their team did find success, it was due to his presence.
Yeah, for sure. That you make a strong argument. On that side as well, I also think that Matey played super well. But I think if it were up to me, and there's all love here, Evan, I gotta go with Scrub. Scrub proving to be the reactive DPS, proving to make the switches, to rotate to the Mei. We play the Mei. Okay, no, that doesn't work. We go back to Pharah. That doesn't work. We play the McCree. Rotating through DPS as the team needed in order to come up with a new concrete strategy when they needed it. So I think I have to be Scrub simply for the versatility and coachability. I love to see that out of a player as a coach myself. And, you know, I think that maybe, not to take anything away from their performance tonight, was absolutely huge. But if it were on me, I think Scrub is my choice there.
Hey, I couldn't agree with you more. Like I prefaced in the beginning, it was such good Overwatch. It's difficult to pick, who had the most impact in
There's no
today's
wrong answer,
series.
truly,
It really
truly.
is. But
Yeah,
now, the most difficult part is, velocity. And although I say difficult, I think you and I might be in agreement here.
I think so too. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pick some of the incredible off tank play. I believe it looks like they already left the lobby, so I'm totally blanking on the name. But it is
Deadly Mouse.
yes, Deadly Mouse. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
100% going to have to pick Deadly Mouse. Incredible diva play, incredible use of Matrix, heroic moments throughout every single map, whether it was a 2 or 3K diva bomb, whether it was saving their team from the wind condition from Relentless. It has to go to some incredible off tank play.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's Deadly Mouse all the way for me. Ironically, this one I think is a little bit easier. Deadly Mouse was just always there, like you said, whether it was an ult, whether it was follow up, whether it was cooldown, whether it was DMing a Pharah barrage that Scrub had 100,000 of. It's Deadly Mouse, just the picture of consistency on every map, in every comp, just always there, always doing their part, always contributing impactful, intelligent value. He's Deadly Mouse all day, twice on Sunday. Deadly Mouse for sure. I would even go so far as to say Deadly Mouse helped carry this game for Velocity Nitro.
Yeah, and honestly, I couldn't agree more. And hey, I appreciate everyone tuning into this game. It was incredibly exciting to cast. Thank you, Kobe, on the analyst. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. And hey, good night, Firewall.
Absolutely. Good night, Firewall. It was a pleasure.